And we are live. I hope everybody is having a great afternoon. We're back from Nashville, obviously. Trip was fucking awesome. Tyler, the guy that I debated over there on Grid 1, should be joining us sometime soon. I already sent him the link. I saw him in the back earlier. But looks like he disappeared on me. I don't know where he's at, but I'm sure he'll show up in a little bit. But yeah, fucking Nashville, Tennessee. Probably quite an experience, I must say. Quite the experience, man. Especially coming back. I mean, the plane ride. Now, I'll explain all the plane ride once Tyler gets here because it does involve him with the story. So, yeah, like the prep and everything like that. I want to go through the story with him once he pops in, man. But I hope everybody's having a good day. Good day, man. It's raining over here in South Texas. I can hear the thunder and the lightning going off. So if my light goes out or something like that, you know why. You know why, man. So, but yeah, back from the trip, man. Had a wonderful day. Andrew Wilson's debates were fucking epic, dude. I mean, going up against I don't even know the name of the Muslim dude that he went up against. Don't fucking remember his name. Don't really care. But Andrew fucking killed it, man. I did not see him going the direction of, yeah, the world is a better place when Muslims don't fuck each other. You know, they don't fuck their cousins, man. Ashton, what's up, man? Good to see you in the chat, bro. See you in the chat. We're just waiting for everybody to kind of trickle in and stuff. Fucking, we're back. Our first stream back. It's been a while. I know it's been fucking a while, but my computer's been down, and then I had, went to Nashville, and this whole week kind of been concentrating on other things. So it's good to be back online, man. Yeah, hell yeah, bro. Yeah, thanks, dude. The debate was definitely fun. We're going to be reviewing that right now with Tyler, the guy that I debated. He's more of like a debate expert type of dude. He knows a lot of the technicalities of things. I do think I beat him, to be honest. I do believe I beat Tyler. Tyler will tell you otherwise. He'll say that he beat me, right? But that's like every debater, I guess. It's up to you guys to decide on that. But it was a fun, definitely a fun debate. I gotta tell you the entire story on how that even went about. But once Tyler gets his fucking punk ass into the show, we'll go into a little bit more details on that, man. But it was definitely fun, man. Definitely a fun trip. But yeah, I did end up meeting a lot of fucking people. Okay, am I back on here? Once again, guys, it's raining outside and there's thunder, so I don't know if the light goes out, you know what happened, all right? So hopefully the stream isn't lagging or anything like that. So we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't. But yeah, we haven't streamed in a few weeks. So got a lot to share with you guys, man, moving forward. Once Tyler gets his ass in here. I think now that I think about it, he probably got a call. He probably got a call in because he was working. You know what? Since we're waiting for Tyler, there was something I wanted to review. Warren Smith. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Warren Smith's work, but let's see here. Let me share the screen. Yeah, here it is. That's not what I wanted there, but let's see here. Where's my? I'm a horrible producer. Horrible producer. Nope, that's not it. That's not it either. There you go. All right, yeah. If you're familiar with Warren Smith's work, which I don't think many of you are, but he does debates. He does a lot of his content is like kind of reactionary content, but he is a debater. Very good one too. Very good one. But he went on with a guy named what's his name? Ryan Shapiro? I forgot his fucking Shapiro. I know his last name Shapiro. He is a little hat people guy. But he had a pretty awesome debate here with Shapiro. And while we're waiting for Tyler, we'll review this. Why not? You know, see how this is going here. But this guy right here, yeah, debated Shapiro on the Trump stuff. And Shapiro is a guy that has Trump derangement syndrome. You know, everything resorts back to Trump bad arguments, right? This guy does a really great job at totally dismantling him.
There are very few people that disagree with me that will bring me on a live syndicated radio show like he did. And this was honestly probably my favorite debate I've ever had so far. I found it remarkable how quickly the felony claim against Trump falls apart when you ask a few simple questions.
So falsifying business.
So if you guys remember who this guy is, Shapiro, I think his name's Brian Shapiro. Brian Shapiro, I believe that's his name. But yeah, Brian Shapiro, total Trump derangement syndrome. He went on Tim Pool. Tim Pool totally dismantled him with simple question arguments, right? This guy right here basically goes under the same line, starts asking similar questions to what Tim Pool did, and just dismantles this guy, wrecks him, dude. I mean, it was just fun to watch this.
Business records is a crime. We know he did that. We also know that there was a $120,000 payment made, a week or two before the elections to try to cover up what took place there with Stormy Daniels.
It was done way, way ahead of time, and he was cleared 11 months prior to that.
So you don't think there was any criminal wrongdoing at all in this case?
What was the criminal wrongdoing?
I'm asking you because
I'm not claiming he did something criminal. So if he did something criminal, what did he do?
I'm not claiming it. A jury found him guilty. I'm not.
So this is what happened on Tim Pool, though. But if I ask you, okay, but what did he do criminal?
Well, falsified business records, fraud, obviously is one character.
What did he?
And the business records was he paid Stormy Daniels, and they got off 34 charges off of that, which was really detailed into like little things, like little tiny things to make him a felony, right? This is what the left did to Donald Trump during that time. And when you ask simple questions like this, he totally has a meltdown because he doesn't actually know the details of what was being charged and what exactly was said and the exact pinpoints on these things.
Falsify. Where was that? Where did that happen?
Inflating his business records. I mean, you could look that up. The 34 counts are pretty clear in what he did. Now, I think most people,
34 counts.
Even Tim Pool would agree that at worst case scenario, these were misdemeanors. And I guess what
did he inflate in regards to Stormy Daniels?
Okay, well, that's just one portion of
that's what he was. There was a singular action. He made a payment to Stormy Daniels. That's the only actual action that occurred. All 34 counts are around that.
And my understanding, it was falsifying records and trying to. And some people would use the term. It was campaign
brother.
Violations.
Good to see you in the chat, bro.
This was a week or two before the election, where
the chairman of the FEC, a prior chairman, came out 11 months earlier when all this was being debated and said this is not against the law. And he was even cleared 11 months later at the federal level. But then the DA of New York, who ran on a platform saying, I am going to get Trump.
Yeah, exactly. The judge over there in New York, he literally had, I believe it was his daughter and his wife were running campaigns, anti-Trump campaigns. And this was the judge that was going after Donald Trump. He admitted it straightforward. This is all information that Brian Shapiro over here does not know. Or if he does know, he ignores it.
He said, we don't care. We're going to try it anyways. And that jury with him came to this conclusion. And people are questioning that. So when I'm asking for the evidence.
Well, I'm not a juror. I didn't see the evidence that they saw.
I'm not a juror. Right. Remember that question? I forgot. It was a black congresswoman. They asked her, well, what is a woman? She says, well, I'm not a biologist. This is the same type of answer that you're getting from Brian Shapiro. Well, like I wasn't a juror. I didn't see every single thing, right? But I'm more than willing to rant about how bad Trump is and he's a felon for 3 fucking hours on my show, right?
But let's just say you're 100, for argument's sake. Let's just say you're 100.
Shouldn't we be able to see that evidence if we're going to call the president a felon?
Well, I mean, you don't see all the evidence in every single case for a reason. Not every trial you get to see the evidence that the jury sees. That's just the way our country works. That's the way our justice system works. In a perfect world, I would say, yes, I agree with you. I think we should probably see all the evidence, but I think we should also probably see the Epstein files as well for the victims. I mean,
that's completely separate.
Well, it's separate.
And the thing is, Shapiro always tries to pivot to other topics, especially when he knows that he's kind of at a dead end corner. He'll pivot to something completely different. The good thing about this guy right here, what's his name again? Warren? Right? Okay, yeah, Warren Smith. He doesn't let him get away with it. He always pushes him back to the original topic here, and Shapiro kind of panics.
Yet it's not separate because Donald Trump is the president of the United States. He is weaponizing the DOJ, and this is a huge cover-up. This is the way Donald Trump has lived his entire life. And it's like,
but we're diverting away from something very specific right now.
Mhm.
well, I wouldn't say it's a diversion. I was making the point that in every trial, all the evidence is not released to the general public or the media. That's just the way our courts work. There's nothing. I agree with you. I wish we could see all the evidence. Now, it's your opinion that there was no criminal wrongdoing. That's what I'm hearing from you, that you think this was completely
What
politically.
the evidence that is available indicates. Now, if there's some secretive evidence, if we're going to call the president a 34 count felon, which sounds really
bad.
good, it's like, wow, it's 34 count. That sounds really bad.
it's-
Like,
I think
good
it sounds
for you
horrible.
guys.
I think
I
it sounds
understand. Yeah,
horrible.
my point.
Yeah, but I don't think it's
in
good
terms
for
of political utility, it sounds great, which is a motivating.
Yeah,
factor.
and it's really good fuel for the left to 34 count felony. You voted for a felony. This is why a lot of people during the election were wearing shirts, felony for president, right? I voted for a felon. It was because of people like Shapiro here just calling him a felon without actually naming in details with the 34 counts.
Then we should be able to point to some evidence. The same way, if you're going to call J.K. Rowling a bigot, or a
My
trans-
buddy, Max, bro. My bro, right here. Hold on, I got you. Good to see you in the fucking chat, my friend. Thank you. He loves this white Mexican man right here. The white brother. The white Mexican brother. Good to see you, dude.
but you need to be able to show me something. Evidence is the through line throughout this entire thing. Because when I ask for evidence of systemic racism, it falls apart. Logically, equity does not.
All right, so here's he cuts all of the debate all up. I think the debate lasts for like an hour and a half or so. But he's going through categories here. Here they're talking about systemic racism, some shit like that.
Work. So if you understand equity. Like if we had 100, let's say we have 100 applicants to be firefighters in my local town, right?
Mhm.
Okay. And 50, let's make it simple. 50% are black, 50% are white. They go through the process. Only 8 end up being firefighters are black. The rest of them are all white. Oh, that indicates a problem. How are you going to change that outcome, which is what equity asks for? There's
How do
only
you-
2 logical ways. You can either change the standards or allow people through the process that would not otherwise have qualified through that process. You can apply this to any process. Can you think of
Same,
any
Max,
other
same.
way to?
I love all people with common sense, or at least they're not retarded. Like non-retarded people, I can definitely tolerate them. So I gotta agree with you, bro.
achieve a better outcome other than those 2 things?
Well, I would start by saying that there are very few African Americans that are CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. Until recently, there are very few African Americans that were in certain positions prior, not because of their resumes. But I will say this, I just want consistency on this issue, right? I don't think race should be the end all be all for getting a position. I would agree with you there. But I would also say, wouldn't you call some of the people in Donald Trump's administration, for lack of a better term, DEI hires, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who has little to no experience, somebody
We're
like
jumping away from equity. I thought we were talking about
Oh, part-
the fabric of equity.
part of DEI, and I think you're making the case of equity, but a lot of people, and I think you're one of those
Oh,
people
right.
that would say,
By the way, happy Thanksgiving to everybody watching, man. Thanks for reminding me. I forget it's Thanksgiving Eve right now, man. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day, and everybody eats good tomorrow, man. Hopefully we see that right now. Speaking of which, we do got my man Tyler. What is up, brother? You finally made it. You're
Yeah.
muted. There you
I
go.
was finishing a game of Red Sec when you went live, so
Oh, you're finishing up a video game?
yeah, I was playing Red Sec.
Oh, I thought you got like a call or something from work.
No, Pentuple, myself, and Gibbs all have it. We're looking for a 4th, by the way, if you're good at shooters.
Yeah, I suck at shooters, bro. Like you guys will destroy me. It's like I'm not even gonna have fun playing. You know. But Tyler, you there?
Yeah, okay. There's a lot of activity at my house today, so I'm muting with between sessions. But yeah, I'm ready.
All right, let's do it, man. By the way, before we start off here, dude, I want to get into the story because we just, we came back from Nashville. You didn't go to DebateCon, by the way. So I only got to see you the first night, which was fun because at least we got to fucking party the first night. We had our debate. Everything was fucking awesome. But how many days was it before we had officially made the debate happen? I think it was like 2 days before Nashville or something, right?
Yeah, it was getting bounced around, and no shade on Grid. He had a lot going on. People dropping out. He was shifting things. Like there were supposed to be more people. There were only 2 people essentially that went into the belly of the beast there that weren't self-proclaimed right wingers and self-proclaimed fans of Andrew and shit. Like
right.
Everyone else dropped, so he was shifting things around. Pentuple wasn't even aware he had a debate until he got there.
Yeah, that's true.
Scott prepped for 3 debates because he had one previously. I think he was supposed to go up against Enemy Charlie, and she just, after the Andrew Wilson thing, bailed on it.
Oh, she was supposed to be there?
Yeah, she was supposed to come stay at the B&B with Tom. They were going to have each have their own room at my B&B.
Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't even know that. All right, so she was supposed to show up because originally I thought I was going to debate tomfoolery on left-wing, right-wing violence. That's what I initially was told, right? So I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, I'll do that. I was going to show up anyways. I'll debate tomfoolery. And then I think like 2 days before, I get a message from you saying that, hey, the Israel debate between me and you is going to be in Nashville. I'll be like, okay, cool. So I thought I was debating 2 debates that day. So I thought I was going to go against Tom and you on those 2 different topics. So I was prepping for Tom, I think like one of those days, right? And then on the second day, on the day that I had to fly out over there, that's when I was prepping for you, bro. I woke up, prepped in the morning. I went to the airport, sitting down for a couple hours before the flight gets there, prepped on the airplane, got to the hotel, prepped in the hotel, and prepped before I went to sleep, and then that was that, So, but I still thought for a moment I was going to debate both of you until the schedule came out. Grid 1 moved tomfoolery for the main event to debate Rob Noor. So I ended up going strictly against you. So I was like, all right, cool, man. That's fucking fine with me, Yeah. But that was my experience, though.
I was trying to get Rob, actually. We just, a lot of the more recent things in the news, we agree on that Democrats are flailing. They don't have anything to run on, blah, blah, blah. There's a few things with Trump we disagree on, but, we have to see how they pan out. He doesn't like the tariffs as much as I do. I don't think the tariffs... that's a whole different... We have a few different areas of disagreement, but it's not worth a debate, basically. So,
no, I know what you mean. I think I think when it comes down to it, we all are pretty close when it comes to our politics. So it's not really worth debating unless it's like natural conversation. We're debating on like details and shit, right? I think that would be I think that would make a lot more sense, which is what we do when we're on the panel with Grid. Mostly, I think with me and you, it has to do with Israel. I think that's our main thing, is that what we disagree with, and we're kind of far away from each other on that. So
we start getting into more fundamental how the government should be run. I'm sure I am much more pro public institution. I like welfare. I like safety nets. I think they're all good. I think that you need to have checks on them and make sure they're not being abused and things like that. But I'm much more pro safety net than most of the people I hang out with. I want Medicare for all. I just think it should be done in a practical, smart way.
Okay, so I saw your debate with what the fuck, Alex Kirsch, right? And so that one was an interesting one because Alex is also pro universal healthcare, right? But he made a point there, and I think he took it from me because I'm not against universal healthcare, but right now in the environment that we live in here in the United States, I would say it wouldn't work, right? But my whole thing is that I think we need to bring back money that we're giving to foreign affairs in order to use that money back to the people in the United States, right? Like Israel has universal healthcare, Canada has universal healthcare, but yet they all take the United States money. They use that, right? Canada doesn't even need to fund their own fucking army. So they use that money into universal healthcare stuff for their citizens. I would say if we take back that position, we can probably afford to do that. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, That's true, but we'd have to like leave NATO, for instance, or something like that. I think that if we can make a program that sustains itself, it's much better than government funded. So if you can take something, oh look at this juice burger.
Yeah, the juice burgers are in the chat, baby.
If you could take all the people that need healthcare, maybe people that want government healthcare, pull them all together and make a single payer program where they're basically paying for just taking all their healthcare and paying for it for what it costs with nonprofits, no advertising necessary. So like if you imagine like these insurance companies, they're paying CEOs a ton of money, they're putting advertising out there, they're paying tens of millions of dollars for things that like Boost Mobile with Ryan Reynolds.
Right.
What is it? Whatever mobile company, he cut all that shit out and he's able to save X amount of money giving them cheaper cell phone service. The same idea with the government. They don't need to advertise it. The fucking government. It's like on every form now. Do you want to sign up for government care? It's literally like the default. So if you could do that, make it a single payer program that sustains itself, wouldn't cost any more money, would be completely voluntary. The thing that Hillary Clinton was running on in 2016, basically.
Yeah, no, I get you. Hold on. Really quickly. All right. Anyways, that what?
He was at DebateCon. Is he coming up too?
Yeah, I just sent him the link. I just sent him the link. So I wanted to surprise you. But yeah, you already knew what I was doing there. But yeah, yeah, see, so he's already going after you in the chat, so might as well send him the link. So Penn, look at your Discord, bro. What's up, Chris Lestrange? Good to see you in the fucking chat too, bro. What was I gonna say? Yeah, dude. So going back to DebateCon or whatever, you weren't able to go. You weren't able to make it because you were vacationing with your wife. So you ended up just like skipping out, the weekend DebateCon, just that first night at Grid's place, which I appreciate. At least you made it for the first night, man. But it would have been cool to kind of hang out with you for the other 2 days.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I'm not a fan of the people that were like, I don't dislike any of them. Like Andrew Wilson's good at what he does. I'd love to get a chance to sit down across from him, but like, I'm just not a fan. I don't really watch them. I don't really know them. I watch the people I know that I engage with and shit like that. So he's cool. He seems like a nice guy. I talked to him for a couple of minutes while I was there, but yeah, just not my thing. We went out of the town instead, went to a couple of nice places for dinner, fucking went sightseeing. She made like 40 TikTok reels out of it. She was happy, so I'm happy.
Yeah, no, I get you. Hold on. Really quick. Here it is.
Look at this Israeli obsessed simp in the top right of your screen, everybody. I can't get a single comment in without this guy calling me a juiceberg, whether
That's
it's
true.
related to Israel or not. Point and laugh.
Look at your hair. You literally just rolled out of bed and decided.
Hey, wow, you have amazing deduction skills.
The only thing you did was comb over your massive bald spot.
Wow, amazing. I haven't showered yet today. I've been up for an hour. Fuck you.
Like I got a little bit of receding. Jake, you got a little bit going there. This motherfucker's got a 5 head.
Oh shit. Yeah. Well, I feel like I also have a 5 head, so it's all good. Pin.
This is me freaking out about fucking Israel is what's going on.
No shit, bro. No shit, dude. What do you call it? Fuck it. Actually, it's funny. We're gonna be arranging another Israel debate. Do you remember the guy that did the questions? There you go. By the way, Penn, you're in Texas now, right?
I am a Texan now. Yeah.
He's a Texan now. Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah. Tyler, you gotta join us, bro. You gotta join us. You gotta be a Texan now.
Yeah,
a gay Texan.
Georgia. You're in Atlanta throwing up blood signs. You're fucking playing with fire over there.
Georgia ain't bad, man. We got a good governor. He doesn't stand up to shit from either side. Good guy. Good place.
It is what it is, man. Fucking but yeah, dude, we're gonna be setting up the debate with Adam King. Penn, you remember the guy that went on there to debate Tyler for a little bit after the debate was over, like the questions? People were going out for questions.
At GridCon?
Yeah, GridCon. Yeah, I like that name, GridCon.
GridCon, right? That's what.
Yeah,
that would go to GridCon.
Yeah, let's go to GridCon, dude.
I remember like people arguing. I don't remember specifically.
Okay, well, Yeah, well,
I was stressing about my debate coming up that I didn't know I was
okay.
doing.
So explain that to me. How did nobody tell you that you were going to debate? Because like after it was over, like, hey, you're up next. What? You guys are fucking with me.
I thought you were, dude. I thought you were. I was like, dude, this Jake guy's funny. He's good at this. Because when Gibbs was like, you're debating, I was like, haha, like classic Gibbs, like trying to make me think I'm debating when I'm not. Because he would always just like sign me up for like shit.
Oh, what?
And then you were like, no, you actually are. And I was like, this is like our first time meeting, bro. Like, you're going to fucking pull this shit on me? And then, what was it? You guys were like, go ask Fabian. And I went over to Fabian. I was like, you up next? He was like, yeah. I was like, who are you debating? And he was like, you. And I was like, what the fuck? Okay. I spent like 30 minutes laughing. He was trying to like, he was nice about it. He was cool. He was like, all right, well, here's the topic. Here's like the main arguments I'm going to make. And I was just like, okay. But
did you literally?
He was more stressed than me.
Yeah. Did you legitly go through his notes and actually like, okay, these are your talking points. This is what I have to attack.
Sort of. I mean, like he showed me his notes and like the main arguments he was going to make, and I was like, okay, all right. And at first, he was like, he didn't think I was taking it seriously, but I was just kind of like, this is ridiculous. Like, there's no way I'm gonna. Like,
yeah. To be honest, Fabian's a good debater, by the way. Like,
yeah, Fabian's cool. I like Fabian a lot. It went well too. I mean, he gave me. Fortunately, he gave me the easier side of the debate. I mean, it was like
yeah. Well, you didn't even know that you were debating. That's why I was just like, what the fuck.
Yeah. So Grid had told Gibbs volunteered me to Grid, and then Grid told Gibbs to tell me, and then Gibbs just never told me. And Gibbs thought for some reason that Grid was going to tell me. But
seriously,
it never got to me. Yeah, but I'm glad I showed up. I mean, I didn't. Me and Sadie were like, oh, let's go, because we thought Tyler's debate was at 6, so we wanted to get there to hang out with Tyler before his debate. So we got there at like 3:30. And that's when you guys were sitting down or whatever. You guys were about to start. And I was like, oh, their debate's earlier. So I was like, who's at 6 then? Apparently I was. I'm glad I got there early. Otherwise, I would have showed up at 6 expecting to see Tyler and would have walked in on you guys wrapping up and been like, oh, I'm about to sit down.
Yeah. No shit, dude. It was fun, man. I was wondering about that. I was like, what the fuck? Like, this guy legitly does not know. So he's going to be totally unprepared and he's going to go in there and get a thrashing. Like, that sucks, dude.
Yeah.
That would suck.
Against Fabian on economics, I was like, I feel like I got set up in like a funny way, not like I'm mad about it, but I was like, they set me up, bro. But I mean, the debate was, I thought I did well. It was fine. It was fine,
man. It wasn't crazy.
President, come on, man.
Honestly, Scott's smart enough.
But Fabian's a libertarian, so he's not a big Trump guy like us. But
true.
Yeah,
Scott's smart enough to hold his own. You're never going to actually technically win. What you got to do with libertarians is make their worldview look stupid. So, like, an FDA debate, I'm going to do with one of them. Like, I'm going to expose. Like, you're never going to convince them. They're always going to double down, triple down, whatever. But like the way that libertarians want society set up is get rid of all laws, get rid of all regulations, get rid of all oversight, and instead have insurance companies act as the way to punish people in terms of societal irregularities or bad things. Like if your company puts out something like asbestos and it kills people for 40 years and it takes 40 years for people to figure out it was killing people, no regulations for that. You're still free to use asbestos.
You're still free to use it. Yeah.
But well, like they're going to charge you more for your insurance.
I've heard the argument, and I think this is kind of a libertarian point of view because I've debated Flow State on this, where Flow State's in the position that we should legalize all drugs. That would be kind of like a, freedom. It's my freedom to do drugs, whatever, as long as it's into your home or whatever. What's your thoughts on that, Tyler?
There's a part of me that understands it, but this took becoming an adult to really understand it. We don't just make laws to prevent harm. We make laws to reinforce morality. When you make things legal, you make them more acceptable. You make kids more able to access them. Like if you don't know somebody that doesn't have heroin, you ain't getting no fucking heroin. But if there's a heroin store, it's right there. It's always there.
Right.
It's just how good the cops are in your neighborhood to basically diminishes your access as while it's illegal. So you're going to make more access. You're going to see more people using it. Granted, you're going to probably see more responsible use, less overdoses, less addicts, things like that. So it kind of mellows it out, but it also expands it. I think that as a society, I kind of agree, but I completely understand why people that disagree want to police it. It could, like, it's like making prostitution legal. It's just degeneracy that we're enabling that we know long term has bad effects on people's lives. And gambling is another thing.
Gambling's another one too. Yeah, that's true.
We know it harms people. We know it. Like, addicts ruin their entire lives over this shit. Maybe it's legal in certain instances, and maybe we have like an Amsterdam in the United States. But other than that, like, no.
Yeah. No, yeah, I can agree with you on that, man. Like, especially when you entice these types of things, like, or even glorifying it within our music. That's another big issue that I have within the culture, right? Rap music, stuff like that, actually glorifies a lot of this kind of degeneracy that I think a lot of young kids consume and believe it to be okay growing up, you know? But can we regulate music? Of course not. But I think we can encourage like better messages within culture, music, movies, comic books, stuff like that, you know? So, I mean, that's just the only way to kind of fight back on that particular part, right? Anyways, Tyler, I was telling the audience earlier that you're kind of more of a kind of a nitpicker when it comes to debates. And I noticed this because especially when you're one of the judges over there on Grid One's show on Fridays, you're one of the judges and you actually score points on these things, which I'm kind of curious on how you regulate that. So I wanted you to do the same thing with our debate and be perfectly honest. If I suck, whatever, it's all good. But I want you to just to kind of give like, first explain, how do you even have a point system? How the fuck does that even work?
So all of us are different. Cleaner, who I'm going to be debating next week, fucking cool ass dude.
Yeah, I love Cleaner. Yeah,
we're going to be debating Medicare for All. Actually, he has a different point system. Anson goes off of vibes and different memes of the week, so his is really weird. But my particular starts with the introduction. Your introduction is essentially in the nutshell statement of your entire argument,
right?
And points need to be clearly stated in your introduction and constantly brought back to. It's your framing. It's super important to frame an argument in that way. So how well somebody sets up their introduction is how well they're setting up their argument, and then I usually judge off of that. Like if somebody wastes their introduction, they're losing big points with me.
Okay.
And they never go back to their introduction and keep repeating the points that they brought up in it. They lose big points with me. And then on top of that, it's basically I look at each subject along the way when you're in the debate as who got the last word on it. And that is who I decide is the winner. Unless the last word kind of sucks. If it's like a hand wave and then we just move on. Like who got the last good point on a topic, I judge that person as the winner generally.
Cope.
Hey, Penn, let me ask you, how do you judge a debate, man?
How do I judge a debate?
Yeah.
Well, whoever took the pro-Israel side is wrong. So that's the first metric that I use. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I actually haven't gotten the chance to watch most of your debate yet. I watched some of it live when I was there, but I also went down to get a bunch of food and prep for the one I did. But
yeah, you had to.
I don't know how I would judge a debate. It's a good question. I mean, probably just generally whatever's more convincing.
Yeah, I think that's the way I do it too.
Average viewer, but average debate enjoyer is how I do it. Do I enjoy the average debate argument, whatever? I don't know. I mean, I definitely take points off, and Tyler and I have spoken about this. I generally take points off for people using tactics like pop quizzes or like testing your. No, I want to hear like actual engagement with the subject in real time. I don't want to hear you comparing conclusions.
Right.
I want to hear you guys reason from a similar point and try to figure out what the case is rather than just here's what I think from what I read today and here's what you think from what you read today.
Yeah.
But from what I remember, you guys did well at it, just engaging on the subject and trying to deal with it in real time. That's the biggest thing is some people are just not there in real time. They're like, they have all these things and points that they read and they just want to get those out. And it's like, we're not even having a conversation. We're just like comparing two different conclusions and letting the audience pick between which one they like more.
Yeah, I get you there. I think like even with, well, you guys didn't see it, but Wicked Wally was debating JS and Gibbs was a little bit more interactive with that debate. I think they were I forgot what they were debating. They were debating, I fucking forgot, dude, to be honest. But they were doing something, but Gibbs was a lot more interactive. I think Gibbs was in me and Tyler's debate was a little less interactive because me and Tyler, we were going back and forth. There was no stoppage between us. It never really dragged on, but we were kind of moving forward with the debate. But Tyler, I'm very curious to kind of get Tyler's points things on here because I think it's funny because Andrew Wilson was actually, he told me that he was listening to the debate while he was over there at the hotel. And, he's like, hey, man, I was listening to the debate and I'll just tell you, you're better prepped than your opponent. That's what he told me, that I was better prepped.
That's because Tyler only uses his official verified sources, aka Jewish sources.
Yeah, maybe so.
I think that just based on crowd you're very good at engagement, getting people hammering home the good points. The public speaking aspect, when to emphasize.
He's got more
emphasize something to get the attention where it needs to be for the point. I have a hard time delivering the dunk.
Oh, I got you. You have no Riz, Tyler? Is that why?
I lack Riz, yeah.
Oh, that's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah. Yeah. That's how I'm able to get girls. I got the Riz and
Riz deficiency. When I go out in the sun, it hurts. It's Riz.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah. Well, you know what's funny? I actually judge people off of that too. Like, is emphasizing particular points and doing the home run thing. And I think there are some people that kind of aren't able to do that. Like they'll brush on it and then they'll kind of let it go, but they don't emphasize the exact like punch in the face. And I think that's one thing that I kind of concentrate on too, is punching my opponent in the face with a particular thing. So I think that can win crowds over. But you're right. I wouldn't explain it as Riz. I would explain it as charisma. I think during a debate you do have to have a charisma. I think charisma is something that people are drawn to.
Jake.
Yeah.
Where does Riz? Do you know where Riz comes from?
No.
Charisma.
Is that what it is?
It is. I didn't know that on the page either. I had to be told the same thing.
Really?
Funny that you said that because Riz is charisma. Charisma.
Oh shit. Okay, I didn't even fucking know that.
So you do have Riz.
There you go. I do have Riz. Thank you.
You have
holy shit. Hell, dude, bro.
Isn't that a
I
fun
learned
fact?
something
How
new.
many of you in chat didn't know that? I bet.
Who knew? Yeah, who knew that Riz meant charisma? That makes a lot of fucking sense now.
Right?
Holy shit. Yeah, no shit, dude.
I had the same reaction when they told me. I was like, no way. That makes perfect sense. Because at first I was like, where does this word come from? It was just like another word we've adopted. It
was like Gen Z that fucking brought it up. So that's why I was just like, what the fuck?
I will let you guys know I got 2 hours and 20 minutes before I got to pick the wife up.
Okay, great. That's enough time.
We're in our last 2 hours and 20 minutes. Thanks, Tyler. We'll have to rush everything in.
It's an hour and a half long debate. So,
yeah, well, we're gonna go through it quick because Tyler told me that he judges people off opening statements. You'll give points for that. Tyler, I want you to judge my opening statement because I'm not gonna lie. I did all of the fucking prep in one day on the airplane and the airport and the hotel leading into this shit. So I will say that my opening statement was kind of weak in the beginning, but kind of picked up halfway through it. That's my opinion.
Okay,
but
it's been long enough to where I can watch myself as like a different person. Like I forgot about it. So I can watch this as a new viewer and judge myself too.
Okay, so I want you to be honest with how you are approaching this situation and how I am. So because I'm kind of biased when I was listening to it when I was like drinking and shit here and there, and I was like, yeah, I fucking fucked up Tyler and shit like that. But I'm biased, right? I'm biased towards myself, so I don't know. But I want you to actually.
I'm unbiased.
Pen, you're so biased, bro. What are you talking about? You are so fucking biased.
No. I am perfectly neutral on all of these questions, and I think Tyler lost. I think Tyler had the losing argument. I think Tyler's wrong all the time, and Tyler's dumb and stupid and mean, and I don't like him. So as the unbiased one in the
totally
room,
not biased. Yeah,
I think you won.
Thank you. Totally not biased.
I'm just trolling. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna get a shower because Tyler had to deduce my unshowered case.
Yeah, you look like a mess.
You smell like shit. Yeah.
Yeah, no shit. You look like you smell like shit, Pen.
Yeah, I do. I'm wearing the same shirt I streamed in last night.
You look like you went out partying with a bunch of gay dudes and then woke up the next
wish. Day feeling like I up till 2 a.m. playing Balatro on my phone.
Feels like I fell down the stairs. My ass hurts. Oh, did I run backwards to the cornfield?
All right, well, hey, I'll catch you guys later. Peace out, Jake. And
Yeah.
fuck you, Tyler. You
I'm glad he pushed out before he went to the Juiceburg stuff, right? Tyler. Oh man, dude.
He's half trolling about it because he gets Landon worked up.
Yeah, no, yeah, I get you there, dude. I get you there. Like I've been called to Juiceburg as well, like on Grid One's show and everything, right? Every time I bring up this topic, it seems like everybody in the chat, or not in the chat, everybody on the panel goes against me on this. Like all you guys kind of share that same type of opinion. I think Grid is on your side too. So yeah, man. I mean,
he's an isolationist. If you just said you wanted to decouple because he America first, he'd probably agree with you. But he doesn't like the arguments that Israel's a good ally resonate with him.
Oh, okay. I see. I've never actually gotten to like actual details on Grid One's like opinion on that because it's a touchy subject, and you can easily break TOS because of it. So, but I've never actually sat down and asked him about his full opinions on that stuff. But whatever. Anyways, okay. So, yeah. So let's start with the opening statements and tell me what points you would give me on that, and then yourself.
And we are live again, boys. Well, I'm excited. We got two people here that are going to be going down. We got between Israel Project, and then the average debate and short prep of stream father of dragging.
Hold on, I like this part.
Protector of Israel, region of the seven kingdoms, and the rightful king of the Iron Throne. And I have to say,
and a homosexual,
raging closeted. Nah, I'm just kidding. All right, but
see, like Tyler, your Riz right there was great. Like that's the thing. Like you do have some type of Riz there when you're fucking gloating about yourself. That's hilarious, you know. So you do kind of have it there.
Get into that. This one's gonna be a little bit of a longer. Something then just event to you. Start
in my.
All right, here you go.
Have to pay us for this. All right, Jake, go ahead and kick us off. You got 7 minutes starting whenever you start speaking. Go ahead.
Yeah, should we decouple from Israel? In my position, I would say yes, we should. As of October 7th, of course, the attack that Hamas did on Israel, when Israel responded to Hamas, we saw that it was out of self-defense, which in itself seems pretty reasonable, right? They attacked Israel. They have the right to attack back. However, as we see that 2023 moved on, we saw that the numbers jumped up to alarming rates. According to the Health Ministry of Gaza, it was around 45,000 deaths in the first year. And these are studies that going into the second year that just amped up even more. So we do see that that Israel is kind of overcompensating for the attack on Israel here. Now, as far as their excuses goes, it says, look, we did it out of self-defense. They attacked us first, therefore we have the right. That turned into that. Of course, the hostages that they had, the Israeli hostages that Hamas had there, they said this is going to end once we get the hostages back, right? Then we see that this seems to be keeping an issue going forward even after the hostages were taken. It's always something with Israel where they say one thing and then they keep attacking the poor people over there in Gaza, right? And of course, the other narrative here is that people like Tyler here in front of me will say, no, Israel's not committing a genocide. I'm sure Tyler would agree with that statement. Of course, there you go. He has that. And at this point in time, no, it's a lie. I would like Tyler to explain to me how that's not the case. That's a point one. And then also, I would like to go through the starving of the Gazan people. According to reports, they are refuting and not willing to give food to the people in Gaza, blocking out aid as well as medicine and the bombings, hospital bombings, home bombings, as well as infrastructures over there in Israel. It is very clear that Bibi Netanyahu is committing a genocide over there in Israel. And I think us as the United States, taxpayers that pay up to Israel, we shouldn't be funding this type of genocide here. And I think a lot of taxpayer people don't want our money going to that direction. However, people like Tyler, as a open Zionist, is 100% supportive of that. So again, I don't know where his argument's going to go, where he states, no, they're not committing a genocide. I do feel like a lot of the people that are on Tyler's side are now just kind of admitting, yeah, sure, it is a genocide, but however, I'm totally cool with it, bro. As we saw with Brandon Tatum and several other Zionists that are now in the position of just fuck it, let's just fucking support it. It's to the point where they're just gobbling Benjamin Netanyahu's fucking cock. I expect Tyler to do the same thing in this debate right now. And thank you, Tyler, for doing that.
Best fucking moment, bro.
This is the exact direction that he is going to go in this debate. We know this. I know this. So I am looking forward to that. And I'm sure Tyler at the end of this will call me a anti-Semitic guy. He won't. Okay, thank you, Tyler. Thank you. He will not do that. However, people that do talk about this type of things are labeled as that, such as Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, Candace Owens, several people of that nature, in order to silence them. Now, this is another tactic, pretty much leftist tactics, Marxist tactics, to label somebody that you don't like or somebody that you don't agree with as anti-Semitic, racist, misogynist. The list fucking goes on. So this is the same tactic they're using even in the mainstream right now currently. So I do want to kind of go through things point by point with that. And with that being said, all of that accumulated here, I don't believe we should be supporting genocide. I don't believe that we should be supporting Israel. And I'll leave it at that, Gibbs.
All right.
Okay, so Tyler, I was kind of stuttering there because we just went live. I think you should take points away from that because I was kind of missing with words and stuff like that. That's how I judge things, though. What's your perspective on my opening statement there?
All right. Well, since I know how the rest of the debate went, it allows me to kind of like figure out what you were thinking in the process. So you clearly start out clearly defining your terms and granting a point. Your second sentence there granted a point that the attack happened, so it was just some sort of retaliation was justified. And you did that in your second sentence. That's great for fucking audience, like thinking you're a reasonable guy coming out instead of just hammering the points and hitting one side attack after attack. You came out and built confidence with them. So then you set the framing, and now you said some things I don't agree with, but you set them up in a way to like do your juxtaposition with what a decent attack would look like versus what Israel's doing. Israel never said Israel said that as soon as they got the hostages back, then it would be over. I didn't capitalize on that. I absolutely should have. They didn't get the hostages back until like
recently,
right after the debate or right before the debate. It was like right around the same time.
Yeah.
So. And I could have even hit you on that, and I never even brought it up. I fucking completely missed that shit. I don't know what I was doing.
Yeah. Actually, you kind of did bring it up, but I actually swayed away from it. I didn't want to go that direction because I already knew, like, actually, I know there's still conflict there, but it is, he can make an argument that it's already over. So this is why I just kind of brushed over it. I actually did that on purpose, to be honest.
Yeah, we'll get to that because I noticed that you did it like 3 times with a point I kept trying to bring.
Yeah, I know.
Up. And I was like, just not engaging. Gibbs even asked me a question about it. I said my piece, and he just went right back to your framing again, just completely. Yeah, but we'll get there.
We'll get there.
And then you issued challenges to me, and then used your framing, and you were just basically setting up framing the whole time, saying it's unjustified and putting me on the defensive. And I need to now provide evidence to you to dispute your claim of a genocide. After all, So, and then the best part I think was bringing up Brandon Tatum. I don't even know who that guy is until I looked him up. He is retarded. And
So. Bro, okay, so really quick, Tyler, when I previewed this video on my channel, there's another guy named Palpatine that was in the chat. And when it got to that point, when I asked you that Brandon Tatum question, and you were reasonable, right? You were like, no, that's ridiculous that he would say something like that, right? Palpatine was saying like, nah, dude, like Israel has full right to starve all 2 million people and have them dead. You know, like he was doubling down on that take with Brandon Tatum, right? And I said, well, I think you can get along with Tyler, and I think both of you guys are in the same position. But he just said, yeah, I just disagree with Tyler on that. You know,
I think as far as I go, is they have full rights to remove people from that land since they took the land from Egypt. But that's just a problem. I'm not saying harm. No physical harm should come to them. But yeah, so the using that anecdote this is the anecdote, but you took it and painted him as like a part of the group. Even some of the most devout, you made him seem like he was part of the homies saying genocide is good. And it was good narrative setting. And then you go right back to your main thesis in one complete sentence at the end and ended. It was a very well put together opening.
Okay. All right. I appreciate that, man, because to be honest, I didn't write it down. All I knew is that what direction I wanted to go and what I wanted to hit you on. And I just based my opening statement, improvised it based around that. That's all I did, really.
You can go to times at a half speed if you want, because people on grids talk way faster than we were talking.
Yeah, for sure. I get you there. All right. Well, Tyler, I want you to judge your opening statement, which you are really well more spoken than me. With your opening statement, I remember listening to you and everything like that. I'm like, okay, he is a lot more well spoken. You did attack my opening statement as well, giving me dips and daps of what you were going with and stuff like that. So I want you to judge yours here.
Now continue on. Thank you so much, Jake, for that intro. Let's get into it. Go ahead and give us your intro. You have 7 minutes starting now.
All right. So Gibbs started out saying that nobody is getting paid to be here, but I'm earning $7,000 for this debate. I want to let everybody know. I'm here to argue for Trump's military strategy and geopolitical strategy as the president, something he's been on board with since 2016 before he won his first election. So I want to argue that my argument's actually the more based one. Going in, we're going to start with U.S. global hegemony and why it's a good thing. If you look at since the United States around the Cold War time has been the stewards of peace in the world, we've had the most peaceful world in existence. Borders have moved less in the last 60, 70 years than they have all in human existence. We've seen massive amounts of conflict squashed out. Some 7, 8 Trump's taking credit for right now. We're able to use our power and leverage to force people to come to peaceful terms. This raises consumer confidence in global trade, with consumer confidence hitting all-time highs in 2022. What does this mean? More countries want to trade with us cheaper goods. Cheaper goods means lower inflation, lower cost of living, a better life for Americans. What we take in yearly from imports in taxes is about $90 billion. Once you get that down to the consumer level, reselling, purposing these things, it ends up accounting for about $250 billion a year in taxes brought in. What we give out every year from our defense spending to other nations is $12 billion. You know, it's a little bit of a difference because it's 20 times higher. Global hegemony costs us nearly nothing. We rent other armies to do our work for us, and we reap the benefits. It's absolutely America first to do this. Going into Israel specifically, why is that important? We need a staging ground in that area. There's 30% of the crude oil from the entire world comes from that area. Trade from Asia to Europe and Asia to the United States goes through that area. We have 2 very important canals and 1 very important strait, and we need to have some sort of security over there. We could sail our ships over there, put U.S. boots on the ground and make sure that's okay, or we could pay somebody an infantile amount of money and have them oversee this very important area in the world. So moving into more what Jake was talking about, we have our post-October 7th. Let me remind everybody that October 7th was when 6 proxies of Iran, coordinated by Iran, funded by both Iran and Qatar, attacked Israel with the intent to completely destroy it and wipe out all of its inhabitants. This would actually be what a genocide is. That was their intent. Israel has shown nothing but restraint since then. So when we talk about the Gaza Health Ministry, what we're talking about is a Hamas-approved, Hamas-filled government entity.
That is true.
Hamas is the governing force of Gaza. These are who the people elected. These are who the people, according to polls, would elect again today if they had another election. But Hamas canceled all the elections after 2006.
By the way, Tyler, really quick, just to put a note on you bringing up the Ministry of Gaza and the health. I mentioned that in my opening statement specifically so you can bring that up. And the reason why I wanted you to bring that up and scold me on, it's actually biased information because it's coming out of Gaza and Hamas runs it, right? That makes total sense. But then that's when I was going to hit you with alternative information and to kill that point. So I actually did that on purpose for you to actually acknowledge that. Just FYI on that.
Now, The alarming rates, the 72K deaths that the Gaza Health Ministry is putting out, not only are several hundred thousand of those, or several tens of thousands of those not verified, but we also find out that the Gaza Health Ministry has been caught lying about Israeli troops killing Gazans multiple times. First, we saw, most importantly and most recently, was what was called the Witkoff massacre. When Trump set Witkoff to negotiate peace with Gaza, there was a firefight on the border when Israel was handing out food. They were handing out 2.2 million meals a day at their peak. When Israel was doing this, people that were rushing were being shot at about 2 miles away from the conflict. Turns out it was Gazan forces, some Hamas, some smaller groups, shooting at Gazans to prevent them from taking Israeli aid. Hamas has come out and said, if you accept Israeli aid, you will be met with violence and death. They are threatening their own people not to take Israeli food because that aid depowers them. Why does that aid depower them? When the UN was allowed to bring in food, Jake mentioned that the UN was cut off from bringing in food. When they were allowed, Hamas was seizing a large percentage, not all of, but a large percentage of these trucks. They were storing them in warehouses. We know of 3 of these potential warehouses. Those warehouses were then used for redistribution. There was a big investigation into it. The redistribution of flour, the inflation of flour, was 100% because Hamas was seizing that and reselling it to its people. At that same time, the Gaza Health Ministry, the Israeli distribution of food was putting out 2 million meals. It's just all been shown. Israel's proven it. On top of that, the idea of a genocide going on, Israel has relocated 400,000 Gazans, 800,000 out of Gaza City before they started bombing, 800,000 Gazans out of Rafah before they started bombing. And then when they went back into Gaza City to go at Hamas's stronghold, they relocated a staggering 1.1 million people out of harm's way. Why were there still people in the combat zones? Because the government they elected was forcing them at gunpoint to stay there. They are being used as human shields. Now, going into the 2024 State Department investigation, Joe Biden, who is his party, not a huge fan of Israel, even though Joe Biden in particular was, what his State Department discovered was that all of the funding that we have given to them did not result in a single war crime. There was no evidence of the claims. What we see are claims. Now, not every Israeli soldier represents Israel. A bad thing can happen in war, something that's not supposed to happen, and how it's reacted to jurisdicts if it's a war crime. If what we saw at one point, we saw a camera on the top of a building. It was a Reuters camera. Israel gave the go-ahead to drop a bomb on it because they didn't know whose camera it was. And they did that. Nobody authorized the tanks to fire. A tank fired twice at that hospital. That would have potentially been a war crime. What did Israel do? Investigated it, found out people acted without their consent, without their order, and they punished them. They punished their own soldiers for doing bad things. Have you ever heard of Hamas doing that ever? Is there a bad thing that they can do? When they kidnapped a 4-year-old and a 9-month-old, they strangled them to death, paraded them through the streets to cheering crowds. They put bombs on buses, intentionally targeting civilians. What genocide is not just killing 1% to 2% of the population while relocating 50% of it to keep them out of harm's way. What genocide is intentionally trying to wipe people off the earth, to kill them. Israel has proven time and time again that they will not do this. When they bomb buildings, they call the people a day beforehand to say, hey, we're going to bomb your building, get all the civilians out. They do knock bombs at the top of the building to say
20 seconds.
Israel has proven time and time and time again, and as we dive into the details, I'll show almost every claim against their bad actions has just been PR from actual Marxists.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right. So like I said before, Tyler's a lot more well-spoken in his opening statement. That's for damn sure. So I'll give him that. By the way, Tyler, you're not a Jew, right? That is confirmed. Okay, Tyler's not a Jew. I just want, if you were a Jew, would you be a good Jew like Dave Smith or a bad Jew like Ben Shapiro?
I am probably about as Zionist as Ben Shapiro is.
Okay, so you're a bad Jew. Bad Jew, you. Bad Jew. All right, so now you know if he was, he'd be the Ben Shapiro side of that argument. But okay, so I want you to judge your opening statement here and the points given here. And again, judge it as mutual as possible and compare it to mine here.
It was a vomit information dump where I said a lot of really, really decent points with zero emphasis, zero charisma, zero hard-hitting dunks that I could just like give them something to digest. It was basically a sandwich that was full of lettuce with no meat.
Oh, okay. Really?
Yeah, I mean, I just went like, you have to put the like watch it 2 or 3 times because I instead of building overall narratives, I just made a bunch of point by point by point by point by point, and like I never like the first part, for instance. I think I related to the crowd with Trump. I did some humor, blah blah blah. That was good. That was good engagement. Get him on my side, make him like me a little bit, but. I just went right into narrative building and just started listing off things. Narrative building to justify my worldview, and then if the next thing was how Israel fits into it, and with no like cap off statement like this is why global hegemony is good, this is why the world is good, like the better with U.S. in control, and this is why Israel makes that significantly cheaper and less costly for American boots on the ground, like or less likely for American boots on the ground. So we're renting their army. I needed to like. Put that out into one sentence, and I never did. I just literally just jumped right into the next fucking topic with nothing. And then with your, like when I was going through a lot of your points, instead of making overall narratives, I was going point by point by point
yeah.
bucket. And like, it just never, it came off as myopic. It didn't have the overall feeling an introduction's supposed to have. It was like I inserted the body of the debate into my introduction in the second half. And the whole first part I did there, you just didn't even like, you strategically avoided it. And so like it all didn't even matter. I just wasted like 4 or 5 minutes of my introduction rambling, I feel like. And I had no concise of hard hits. Just like, I was basically just reading Wikipedia in my mind.
Did you improvise that statement? I think you did because I didn't see anything written in front of you before you sat down.
Yeah, all off the top of my head.
Okay. So yeah, that to me, very well spoken. A whole lot of points that I can't address all at once. So I pinpoint the point that I knew that was in my favor, which was the genocide. Which I start off the debate through definitions of genocide. Right. I start that off because you did your closing. Your closing opening statement had to do with that. So I was able to kind of pivot to that, and that's the direction that I wanted to go. Because all the other things was just kind of like, okay, he wants to go into the narrative of like how it would be good, at least economically, etc. Which I could do that, but at this point I'm prepped for what I prepped for, and so I want to go that direction. Like that's what I was thinking in my mind. So I did intentionally just kind of fucking avoid it, you know. And that was my thought process during that time. Really quickly, Vox, I know you're there, dude. No, I am an anti-Zionist, bro. Just to let you guys know. And I know Max is already telling you there. Really quick, fucking shout out to Mike Ball. Good afternoon to you, man. Great hanging out with Mike, man. By the way, Mike drove me to the convenience store to get some beers and cigs for the nights and stuff. So a shout out to him, man. Great guy. Max, he's on my side. He's talking shit to you, Tyler. Wicked Wally in the fucking chat as well. Great time hanging out with Wicked Wally over there in Nashville. Got to meet his wife, fucking great woman. Got to hang out with him and drink with him and his wife, man. It was fucking awesome, dude. So he just got married, by the way. So shout out to fucking Wicked Wally. Just getting married, not even that long ago. So shout out to Wicked Wally, man, for that, man. You're doing God's work. We got to get married, got to have kids. You let me know once you and your wife have a child, bro, because that's gonna be a big thing, man. All right. So congrats to Wally with his marriage. Anyways, moving forward on that. Yeah, let's get into the actual debate here, Tyler. And
the thing I'll say is like the only like I didn't deliver well. I didn't orient my points while I was so hyper focused on the moment. But like lack of prepared, I don't know how that shows up in that. I'm literally just like acting like I studied Wikipedia. Like I don't know how.
All right, you're muted. You're muted. Can't hear you.
Me?
Yeah, you're muted for the last like 5 seconds.
Oh, I just don't know how that comes off as lack of prepared.
Well, hold on. When Andrew came up to me, he said that I was better prepped than you. He didn't say that you weren't prepped. He just said that I was better prepped. He didn't say that's what the case. But honestly, a lot of the information that you have is off the top of your head, and it's very impressive. I wish I could do that, bro. Or to a degree where I can just. Because I think I am pretty good at memorizing stuff, but probably not to the same degree as you. I think you can get me on that, to be honest. But that's what Andrew said. Andrew said that he spoke to me. He was like, "Hey, man, you're a good debater, but you just need more experience. Like, you need to go out there and fucking debate everybody, get your ass kicked a couple times, and develop that shit." So that was the advice he gave me. So appreciate to Andrew Wilson on that. All right, so let's get into the debate and kind of break it down, Tyler.
For that.
Oh, and by the way, Tyler, tell me when to stop if you have something to say. Okay. So,
Yeah,
okay,
Just
got
transcribing my notes is all.
okay, cool.
Got 6:52. There we go. All right, let's get into it. So I know that we're in America, so we're gonna maybe focus on America first lens. I think is kind of a way to do this. Arguably, is America first mean America only? You're gonna obviously argue no with this, and you're arguing decoupling is good. What are our thoughts? Let's go get into it.
Yeah, so Tyler, I wanted to ask you, man. You mentioned in your opening statement right there that a genocide is completely wiping out an entire population, et cetera, right? Would this be the intent to just wipe out the entire population 100%, right? This is.
And by the way, Tyler, I ignored the intent part, not purposely, but I guess I just wasn't thinking about it because I was attacking your definition without the in the first part considering the intent position.
That's
So
a
we-
fundamental, you need
Yeah. So I fucked up there because we kind of wasted time here a little bit. Asking my metaphor questions and shit like that. Just keep that in mind.
But you're
Your
right
definition
to go
there,
after
right?
that. Exactly right to go after that. You needed that pillar to stay in place in order for your argument to work. If I took that out, your argument crumbled.
Okay, yeah. That's the thing. And then later I was like, okay. Then I realized I had to prove intent with Israel, which is going to be a hard thing because you put me in that position. So that's why when I brought up the food stuff, we'll go into that later.
I would actually go by the definition of the Genocide Convention, right? They have it defined as any of the following acts committed with intent to destroy in whole or in part a nation, ethnic, racial, or religious group. So again, it doesn't mean that a genocide would be wiping out the population 100%. Tyler, my opponent right here, says, no, it has to be 100%. Let me ask you this, Tyler. If the Germans wiped out, I don't know, fucking 55, let's say 45% of the Jews, would you sit there and say that was not a genocide?
No, because their intent was to wipe them all out. They just never finished.
So then it's not a genocide, right?
You can kill
So
zero
it wasn't a
people.
genocide,
You
right?
can kill 0 people and still be attempting a genocide. It's your
Okay.
intent to wipe them out.
But
based off of
okay,
an
so let's
ethnic-
say the Germans intended to wipe them all out, okay, or maybe they intended to wipe out 49% of them. That still wouldn't be considered a genocide in your opinion, right?
It would.
Well, okay, but it's not the majority,
because
Tyler.
their goal was to specifically target.
Their
an
goal
ethnic-
was to wipe out
Even if-
49%.
I already answered that.
Is
was-
that a genocide or
was
not?
That if there could be 0 deaths, they could wipe out 0%. If their intent is to stop
You know, Tyler, I think I kind of fucked up there. If you're saying that as long as the intent is there, then that would be a genocide. I would argue that that's not a genocide. It's just the attempt of genocide, similar to the attempt at murder, but you didn't actually commit murder. You know?
Yeah, but as soon as you enact it, it becomes that genocide, and any deaths under that intent now become genocidal intent.
Okay. So let's say they had the intent to wipe out a particular group of people and they kill one person. Would you still consider that a genocide?
No, I think you'd have to get a group at least.
Okay, 2 people or 3 people? Like, what's the number that you would accept? Like, okay, you intended to wipe out, X amount of people or all of the people, and then you only killed 5? What's the threshold there that you would consider a genocide away from the attempt of genocide?
Oh, I don't know. Let's just say 50 for the sake of argument.
For the sake of it, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the direction that I wanted to go. Is that I wanted to kind of push you on your definition and dismantle it that way. But I think I did it kind of wrong there. I think now listening to your statement there that says 0, I should have pushed you more on that. Now looking at it again, I kind of fucked up there. But yeah, even with me, I'm kind of breaking it down. I'm like, fuck, I wish I could have hit him on that. But all right, let's move on.
Start a movement to kill a specific group of people based on their ethnicity that is genocidal intent. What
Okay.
Israel has shown is they're preserving the lives of those people in the millions.
In the millions, really. Okay, so Tyler, how many people are left over there in Gaza right now?
About 97% of the population before the war started.
Okay, great. So they had a population around 2.2 million after the attacks of October 7th. They're under 2 million right now. This also includes people, not just Israel relocating people, it's people that actually fled into the other border areas. Okay, so it's not just fucking Israel just thinking like, oh, they just love the Gazan people, they just need to fucking relocate them. Totally not true. The vast majority of them migrated to other areas, Tyler. That's one. Two, I also wanted to ask you, when you're talking about a genocide, I would put this under the definition that it doesn't have to wipe out the entire nation. It has to wipe out, again, in part or whole, right? These are two different scenarios here. And I agree with you, in whole, sure. But this is why I asked you if the Germans intended to wipe out 49% of the ethnic J people.
I think you're okay to say that. You'll be fine. I'll make sure you don't go to jail.
The ethnic J people, you would still consider that a genocide. This is a contradiction just in your definition alone. So can we establish an actual definition here, Tyler?
Yes, absolutely. Because if using your definition, I find it to be a bit loose. What we did in Vietnam would technically be considered a genocide under your definition. What we did in Tokyo would be considered a genocide.
That's war, though.
This is a war.
That's not a war.
This war, Israel.
Oh,
is
now I
in a
see.
war.
Okay, now I see.
Yeah, that's what hit me there, Tyler, is that the war definition is actually something that we need to establish. We didn't do that during that debate. Andrew Wilson told me, like, hey, man, what you should have done is you should have asked him, what do you consider a war? Like, you should have pressed him on his definition of war as well. And that was one advice that Andrew, when he was listening in, gave me as well.
That's what I was thinking for myself too. I should have pressed you because I feel like I could have had an advantage there.
Exactly. Either you could have asked me that question, and then I would have had to define it in detail or specifically. But even Andrew was like, "Yeah, you should have pressed him on his definition of the war. You did a good job on the definition of the genocide stuff, but you had to push both sides there." And Andrew was saying like, "Yeah, you didn't do that." So shout out to Andrew Wilson because when I spoke to him, he was actually giving me advice. It's crazy that he actually saw my debate there or was listening in when he was at the hotel, right? But yeah, I get you there.
Now I see what you're talking about. Okay.
So there has to be the intent to actually wipe out the people, not just win the war. And with Israel's actions showing how much they fed, given water, given shelter, relocated, and warned the people of Gaza that were not part of Hamas, that shows that their intent is not to harm them. They could have done much, much, much worse.
Okay, so now I understand within this debate, I would have to prove the intent of Israel, which, by the way, a lot of the things that Tyler's saying is actually unproven. There's no actual evidence of any of this stuff. For example, even with the blockage of food, right? Oh, Israel, which, by the way, is the only one that are telling us this stuff, Israel is saying that Hamas is taking food and redistributing it through that. Israel's the only one. However, according to the international associations, international CIA, etc., including the U.S., have found no evidence on that at all. Okay, so and these are multiple institutions that haven't found nothing on those claims, but yet Israel still runs with this type of fucking rhetoric. So that's one on there. Another thing, I will tell you this: even like two U.S. governments, right? Government agencies, USAID, and even the Bureau of Population Migration has even stated that the Gazans who are starving over there in Gaza, it's to blame on Israel, right? They're the ones blocking a lot of this, a lot of the food that's going in, etc. So the only thing Tyler has to say is, no, bro, just trust Israel. Israel's telling me that this is not the case. Trust me, bro. But doesn't seem to be the case when others investigate this situation. So I want to ask you, Tyler, just to move forward, you do not consider this a genocide at all, even though scholars, for example, in the Israeli communication of genocide, scholars have actually stated this is not a genocide. I'm sorry, this is a genocide by their definition.
Yeah, I still don't. So I want to go. Okay. Can we go through a few of your claims here? So the attempt to wipe out a racial group has to be shown, and if Israel can be shown to preserve the large, vast majority of that racial or ethnic group by doing all these mitigating factors, feeding them, housing them, clothing them, moving them out of harm's way, that to me shows that they're not trying to actually wipe out the majority of this racial group. Going into what you said about Hamas, the U.S. government has recognized that there's 2 warehouses, at least that we know of, in Gaza that are under the control of Hamas. We have video footage. The New York Post has done stories about this. I want to say it was a BBC investigation, but don't quote me on the source, that talked about flour, why flour was so expensive a few months ago.
I have all the citations ready for you if you'd like to.
The what?
I pulled all those citations up out of my document because I knew this was coming up. So if you want, I can send all 4 of those to you.
Yeah, go for it, bro. Go for it. Send them in the private chat. But you did bring up the flour situation in your opening statement as well, because I could tell you wanted to go into the food stuff, because I think you knew that was going to be one of my arguments to prove, genocide is that they're depriving the Gazan people of food. Because I from my perspective, I wanted to kind of prove that this would have to have some type of intent, whether it be small or huge. There is some intent there. And if I can convince the people that there's intent, then therefore I can prove that, it's a genocide based off of your standards, right?
Let me go over some of my notes then, because we're stopping a little every now and then. So let me.
Yeah.
So you start off by the crux of your argument is this definition of genocide, and you really do a good job at clinging to it. Every time I hit it, you dispute it, and you dispute it in a different way. So I hit my fucking 5 points that I put up in my intro, and I keep going back to about them relocating I think it was 1.1 or 1.2 million people, feeding 2.2 million people a day, and things like that. I keep bringing this up, and the first thing you went is disputed it on grounds that it's not happening because the UN said it. Next, you went and disputing it on the grounds that Israel isn't a trustworthy actor. They've lied in the past. Like, every time I offer this argument, you give me this dispute, and then the thing you do after is you put a button on it, because then you go into a somewhat related question, and then I answer the question, and I never get to address the thing that you seemingly put a button on. It's a really good tactic that I need to start doing, where you're drop some big dunk, and then you'll be like, all right, now this question for you. If you did that, and I was like, fuck, man, I had to go back into the point I just made to restate my framing, because you destroyed it in order to make my point. And again, I should have really hammered in on that war definition, because you went back and asked the genocide question again, basically restarting the whole conversation again. And I don't know, I got lost in the sauce there and started going into my specifics too much. So
you know what? I kind of appreciate the compliment there, Tyler, because like I said, you're kind of a guy that judges debates very well. You're a better judger than me, bro. I can't name you fallacies or anything like that, right? I have a particular strategy on things, and it seems to work for me. But yeah, dude, I don't really think about that stuff. So that's why I wanted to kind of break this down with you, so that I can kind of learn and get better as a debater as well. Because I don't ever want to come online or go on IRL and get embarrassed by somebody. My thing is, I want to embarrass my opponent, destroy them. And I'm sure you have the same mentality here. So really quick, Tyler, so this is the first one that you gave me here. Did you want?
So, in my document here, I have 4 citations for the whole paragraph that I wrote. It's talking about multiple things. That's the evidence that they are taking UN aid and storing it in warehouses, because that came into dispute at one point.
Yeah.
And this shows the warehouses.
Oh, by the way, Tyler, another thing that I was prepping for is that you sent me your fucking notes through Discord, and I did read through them. So that was another advantage that you gave me, to be honest, was
you were coming into it kind of blind, so I wanted to make it a good debate.
Yeah, I know that, but I like I said, I think you gave me a little too much, because when I was reading some of those notes, you gave me sources on why you believe this and stuff like that, which is why I was able to kind of pinpoint a lot of your sources and then combat them with mine and just say that yours is bullshit because you just listen to Israel. That was kind of my technique there, because you basically handed me your thought process. I don't know if you intended to do. I don't know why you did that, but I'm sure you're just fuck it. All right.
Yeah, whatever. I don't do that if I debate like a leftist. That's the only people that don't get my notes. Generally, I drop my citation document the day of a debate to people.
Okay. And by the way, I don't do citation documents and stuff like that. I just kind of review it. I go through stuff. I should do it like Tyler, really, because you're really good at kind of keeping notes and structuring. I could tell you're really good like a note taker, bro. Like a lot of the stuff that when I was reading through, it's very well put out. So that's why I was able to kind of understand your position before we even did the debate, to be honest. But yeah, I got to learn to do that stuff because I think that would help me in the future as well. But I did want to compliment you on that. But yeah, so you sent me some sources in the private chat. Anything specifically you want me to pull up on screen before we move on?
No. That was just because it's going to get disputed here, and I'm not going to use that in my judgment of the debate. I just want, to know in your head that I was right.
Yeah, no, I got you. I got you, dude. Yeah, and by the way, chat, just to let you know, like Tyler's really he is a prepper, bro. Like this guy, reading his notes. Even when I was going up against Destiny, I told Tyler what I was gonna aim for Destiny. I said illegal immigration. Tyler sent me an entire fucking his notes purely on that topic, and moving forward. So Tyler really did help me out, even with the Destiny situation. We didn't talk personally. He didn't prep me on a personal matter, but reading his notes did help me out with the Destiny stuff, So always appreciate Tyler for that. But yeah, he did send me his notes, so I was reading that shit in the airport and the plane and stuff like that. So I did prep for this guy, and my goal was to crush him. But anyways, yeah, let's move forward, Tyler.
Seizing the aid that was actually going in. We have documented cases. Tony Blinken, under the Joe Biden administration, went to Israel 11 times to oversee food going into Gaza. There was one instance where he went there, the aid trucks from the UN went in through the crossing, and Hamas seized them right in front of the U.S. government. The UN had to go in and take them back. So to say this is unverified, I would have to just meet you with the citations from multiple things. The New York Post, why would they lie about this? So now, hold on, I got one more for starvation. So the starvation guesses, back in March, we heard 10,000 people were going to die of malnourishment. And we heard that they were starving, the kids were dying left and right. Well, we have the actual numbers. Since the beginning of the war, less than 200 people have died from malnourishment. They said 10,000. They were off by 98%. These are the same people that are quoting Gaza on the death numbers. These are the same people quoting Gaza on the genocide numbers. Mind you, 7 days into the war that Gaza started, they're claiming that genocidal action.
All right, this is where we got the donation.
Woo, big. There we go.
L donated
Over here.
Tyler makes the claim that.
Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah. Okay. So let me get my thought process here. So Tyler makes the claim that no, Israel's actually feeding Gaza, right? They're feeding the Gazans. They're so nice. They love them, etc. But what he doesn't tell you is that 64% pre-October 7th, Gazans were food insecure. In other words, there was a lot of malnourishment, right? 80% of the relief from human aid was what the Gazans were relying on, right? 80%. They need that situation. Not only that, 30% of the food that was being distributed over there in Gaza, or at least locally, was grown in Gaza. 30% of that food, right? So they do need the aid over there. But what he doesn't tell you is that, no, there's already evidence that shows that Israel targeted these food trucks. 500 food trucks daily pre-October 7th was cut by 80%. And this is from the UN Humanitarian Affairs that reported this. 80% cut, okay, on Israel that they blocked out, right? Not only that, if Tyler wants to say, no, this is just a lie, the UN are a bunch of liars, I'm sure that maybe might be the direction that he's
Let me pause y'all again. I'm so sorry. I apologize. We got
hold on.
$50.
Super chat.
Oh, well, shit. No, I didn't know.
Anyways, yes.
Go ahead. Thank you so much. Go ahead. What are you the fight?
Yeah, okay. So anyways, yes, 500 food trucks daily cut by Israel by 80% post October 7th, right? So that's a sheer on fact. This has been investigated by where am I looking at? It's by the
You're right.
Okay, fair enough on there. Not only that, if he's making the claim that they're just getting blocked, they want to feed these people. Israel targeted food infrastructures. All right, they purposely targeted areas where the local food was being grown. Right. So, for example, for this, in November of 2023, they bombed the only operating wheat mill in Gaza. In Gaza, they bombed it. Right. So I don't know. Was Hamas hiding in the wheat mill? I don't know. I have no idea on this situation because according to Tyler, every time they fucking bomb Gaza, it's because there's some Hamas guy there and they just have to kill, the surrounding people that's around that motherfucker. I have no idea what their take is there, but they did bomb the only operating wheat mill in Gaza in November 2023. And as of December 2024, 95% of the cattle, the sheep, and the goat flock in Gaza destroyed. That's all targeted by Israel. Okay, so if he wants to make the claim, no, you have to prove intent, then he would have to prove to me, why is it that Israel is actually targeting the local food source of Gaza if they don't want to starve these people, right? That's one claim there. So that is
Before
something.
you move on, let me just ask, do you disagree that food production facilities are not a legitimate target in a military campaign?
I reject that this is a war completely.
Okay, just be clear. All right, go ahead, finish up. I'm sorry.
No, I can leave it at that because Tyler's position is that this is a war. It is not a fucking war. It's a fucking genocide. Two different things, my friends.
Would you agree with the statement that food production facilities are a legal target or a legitimate target in a
Generally,
war?
no.
Okay.
Generally, anything like multiple things like hospitals, schools, things
And
like that.
and Tyler, I think you messed up by kind of saying that because my whole thing was to kind of prove intent from Israel and saying that they're bombing, they're specifically targeting local food sources there. And so that was kind of my schmick there. I'm trying to prove that Israel's doing this purposely. And if not, what's the case for there? You kind of admitted there, like, well, generally that shouldn't be the case. What was your thoughts of why you answered it that way? You kind of shot yourself in the foot.
Honesty. That's true.
Okay, dude, because a lot of people, they saw that and they were like, dude, you smoked. Like he literally just admitted it. You proved he can't prove intent. And that was kind of the kicker that a lot of people that saw the debate told me that you got him on that, and he wasn't able to answer or refute
because I think,
to
I
that
think I go
degree.
right into the refutation after, but the devil's in the argument I was making to like most of your points, the devil is in the details. Generally,
Right.
and I think I say it right here. Generally, no, that's not allowed. But the reason it's allowed here is because these are being used as staging facilities. These have entrances, etc. But real quick, I'll go into what I got for notes real quick.
Go for it.
So yeah, you literally the whole time you just hammered into Israel. It was going after their credibility based on things that they said in the past that weren't true, while also attacking, like giving pretty one-sided takes on their actions as to what's going on in a way that like I don't see it as charitable. You weren't being very charitable to
No,
them.
it wasn't.
And I personally wouldn't like to do that, but it definitely fucking worked in the debate. Like you were bombarding Israel in a way that they are doing to Gaza, and I just wasn't properly. I was going into specifics, saying, "Well, that's exaggeration. Here's what happened, and this is exaggeration. And it just was not landing because all I was doing is reading off like facts from my head.
Right. And Tyler, I'll tell you this. Beth, she was over there at the GridCon, and she told me, I think it was Beth. I think it was Beth. She was telling me like, oh, you're debating Tyler on Israel. Well, that's Tyler's bread and butter. That's what she told me. Like Tyler does this a lot, and Tyler's very good at it. And I told her like, I don't debate this topic too often, to be honest. I actually refrain from even talking about a lot of this stuff. And so she's like, oh, well, good luck. Because Tyler's really good at this topic, And so that kind of like made me feel like, okay, fucking, I'm going against Goliath here. So I gotta smack the fuck out of this guy as best as possible. That was my mentality going into this debate, bro.
Yeah, I think I don't want to say over prepped. I think it was again myopic. I was focused on the arguments that were being presented to me and not an overall narrative. I was just trying to. I was on the defensive. You have me. You're the affirmative, but you have me on the defensive on the subject that you want to talk about, trapped in this small cycle, which is only a small part of my argument.
Yeah.
And in reality, all you're making, the argument you're making, is that they're doing a bad thing, and we would suffer slight reputational damage. I could have dismissed all this by just saying, so what if they're committing a genocide or not? All this is slight bad PR. Like we and every other nation that's allied with more evil countries than Israel. So what? And I would have just completely dismissed it. I didn't do that.
Yeah. And honestly, I was kind of a little bit prepped for that as well. Cause I was like, I'm hoping, because the thing is, if Tyler bites the bullet, which would dismantle all of my points, it would would come out looking like an asshole, and I don't think you want to come out looking like Brandon Tatum. You know, that was kind of my thing. So I was kind of banking on your morals, really.
Yeah, and like at the end of the day, though, like the economic argument is such a, and the economic and some less U.S. boots on the ground is such a good, heavy hitting argument. If I would have like just been like, so what? To your point, this is the actual benefit. We save a ton of money. We have U.S. hegemony. Israel fights our battles that we would normally have to fight for us because they're like our world deputy. Like, why not? Why is this a bad thing? And if I kept you to that, even Alley Cat came up to me and said like he had nothing for it. You should have kept hammering that every chance you got. I just couldn't. I got trapped. To
be honest, Alley Cat's right about that. I didn't have too much on that. I prepped for a day, read your notes, and prepped on the argument that I was going to shoot you on. And so, yeah, that's true. You should have fucking been more aggressive because I'm very aggressive debater. So I think I banked off of that. I banked off of me being very aggressive and pulling you into the world that I want you to debate. I think that's what I did.
That argument, by the way, starts on page 18, so you might not have made it all the way down there.
Probably not. Probably not. Like I said, like I only had a day to kind of develop my talking points and everything. But again, I didn't even know what direction this Palestine Israel shit was going to go. I don't think you did either. So we were kind of going into this knowing that the debate's about Israel, but we didn't know a specific subtopic on it.
I will say my document is prepped up from I've probably done about 20 debates on this. I've argued with people on Twitter and X or whatever for hours on end to hear all their points out and meet them. That food argument that you made about Israel, I've never heard that before. That was you're the first person to present that specific argument to me.
Yeah, baby.
I wasn't ready for it. I looked into it and found out Israel is responsible for somewhat, but the mass majority of their food, of their livestock, has just been eaten by Gazans that like raided tents, raided camps and shit because they were hungry. So most of that is because of the population eating it, but Israel did target some, and they, you were blaming them for all of it. I didn't know that. So like you just completely sailed that point past me. And if I'm offering this defense that I have a little detail to debunk what you're saying for everything, when you read one of those and I don't have anything for it, looked really bad on my end.
And Tyler, that's the good thing about debates is that now you learn something new. And now if somebody brings it up, which you're telling me you've had these debates time and time again, nobody's actually ever fucking pressured you on that talking point at all.
Never heard it.
And to be honest, I've never heard anybody actually make that talking point. When I was doing my research, I found that out. And then I was like, oh, I got to use this. So that's why I used it. But honestly, I never heard anybody distinguish that as well. So that was from me kind of going there. And I was kind of surprised. I was thinking like Tyler knows a lot about this topic. Obviously, like it's his bread and butter and shit. So I'm going in here kind of like at a disadvantage because I don't debate this topic very often. I should though. I want to. I think it's an important thing for my belief system. So I should do it. But I did notice like you kind of you looked bad on there. And
really hit hard, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, Tyler, have I at least been your toughest opponent? Because you've had like 20 something debates on this shit.
In this area, Socrates TV gave me a challenge in a completely different way.
He's also an anti-Zionist who's also a Jew, ironically.
Yeah. He gave me a challenge in a completely different way, and it was more on Trump's plan. That was a tough one. It was me, him, and Tiberius in like a three-way debate. That was fun too. It was a good time. I would say that you and him probably were the top. I don't know who. I'd have to watch it again to see how close it was. I just remember in the moment, I'm like, this guy's really putting the brakes to me. So
yeah, fair enough, man. But yeah, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. I need to get better at debates. I need to be more active with debates. That's for sure. Like because you do it all the time, bro. I don't. I gotta go out there and fucking do it more often, man.
If you watch my debate with Prime on this, that dude's brain was
bro, Prime. Okay, I saw that debate, and Prime was just he was useless, bro, in that debate. Like he was totally useless. And I was just like, what the fuck, like. And I told Alex Kirsch, I was like, hey, bro, fucking next time put me as your partner because like you were getting like pushback and stuff like that, and some of the talking points that you were doing with Alex Kirsch, Alex was kind of making a little bit more of emotional arguments to a degree, and in my mind, like that shit doesn't work. You don't do emotional arguments because they're easily dismissible, especially if you're talking to an atheist, which Alex Kirsch is an atheist, and he's making moral arguments. You can go into a moral argument with that and just crush Alex Kirsch just solely on that. So with me personally, because I'm a Christian, I look at morals differently than atheists do. So that's the direction that I would have gone. But yeah, I think Alex was it kind of felt like a 2v1, really. Alex was really he was kind of the backbone of that, and the other guy was just fucking completely useless, bro.
And Gibbs just flat out said, "You argue them on the merits, I'm gonna just piss them off," and it worked.
And it worked. It worked, bro. It worked, man. And that was one of the videos that I was seeing in order to prep for you. So,
in all honesty, that's what I need. I was thinking that, like, I could do debate prep, I could nail out points, I could debunk people for making arguments, but like, I can't lead an argument myself. I need somebody with that debate riz that I lack to kind of take the reins, and then when they fire back, I fire back.
Right. Right. Okay. That's understandable. I get you there. I think I thrive more on one-on-ones, bro, because I get frustrated with panel stuff because when I have somebody in the corner, somebody else will come and kind of interrupt it or try to bail them out, and then I have to tell them to shut the fuck up. And I'm trying my best to just fucking kill this guy, but I have other people on there that want to talk, so it makes it a little bit more difficult for me with like open panels and stuff like that. And again, I'm pretty aggressive debater. You know, they've called me mean. You know, I'm a pretty mean guy with that stuff. But anyways, let's move on here.
Sure, generally not. The reason Israel is specifically allowed to hit them is because of the details.
So not food production would not be a legitimate target.
To the best of my knowledge,
Okay.
no.
In your opinion. Sure.
I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah, I didn't mean from a lawyer
in a war
standpoint.
situation?
Just
Yeah, in a war
you
situation.
cannot-
Well, the reason I asked is in America, right? You know, one of the arguments would if we got nuked, one of the first places nuked would be the breadbasket to take out of food production. Most people consider that a war, like
Well, as well as like hospitals.
right? Yeah, they would
really wants to ask
food
you
production
this
facilities a
question.
legitimate target.
Now what?
He really wants to get this question off to you. You already just said no to it once, and he's asking you again.
Okay. Oh yeah. Hold on. Let me rewind here.
You know, one of the arguments would if we got nuked, one of the first places nuked would be the breadbasket to take out of food production. Most people consider that a war, like
Well, as well as like hospitals.
right? Yeah, most people consider food production facilities a legitimate target in war. I was just curious what y'all's takes were, since you seem to be against that. You also seem to be against that. So in response to him, if they're taking out food production facilities and you're adamantly against that or openly against that, what is your disagreement then with what he said?
Well, it would depend on the details and the context of what's actually going on. So with hospitals, I don't know specifically about the food facility he's talking about, but I know generally hospitals and other facilities, about 2/3 of Gaza City in general has terror tunnels underneath it. Terror tunnels that are being used by Hamas to facilitate attacks against Israel. Hospitals have been used. We saw this most hospitals. Israel's released evidence that most of these hospitals were being used as staging grounds. Several of them were raided. Videos, evidence is available. Satellite evidence is available. We found a children's hospital in Gaza. Underneath it, there was an arms munition, just storage for Gazan weapons. They are using these targets to hide their activities. It's guerrilla warfare, and they're intentionally hiding behind their population. This would be, in a sense, them committing a war crime and then opening the door for Israel to now bomb these facilities. Now, going into the food insecurity point, if I've heard this word before, it's straight out of the Mandami playbook right now, but generally it's been used by people in the United States to say food insecurity exists, and that's the reason these people can't do X, Y, and Z. Food insecurity happens. Sometimes when I don't know what's going on for lunch and I only got $5 in my pocket, I'm food insecure. It doesn't mean malnourishment. It doesn't mean you're dying. It doesn't even mean necessarily that you're underfed. It just means
Well, you're switching the definition, Tyler.
that's what food insecurity. Food insecurity.
Okay, the way I'm using food insecurity just means people that are starving. That's it. Like you're not
That's
starving.
starvation. Food
Okay,
insecurity is
so let me
a
reword
subset
then
of that.
starvation.
Yeah. Okay.
64%. Yes.
So again, that hasn't been proven. What we saw in early reports, we saw the predictions that 10,000 people would die from malnourishment in over 2 years, and it's less than 200. It's showing that all of these statements that people were dying and being starved to death just aren't true.
Pre-October 7th. Sure.
Yes. Well, no, generally, just
No, pre-October 7th.
This was post October 7th that this happened.
Okay. All right.
During the war, they said 10,000 people were going to die as a result.
There, I'm trying to throw you off, but you were like, okay, you have your facts there. I'm like, all right, I'll accept that. So I'm trying to kind of dig to see if my research matches up with you, but if that's your research, I'll just accept it. You know?
Yeah, because you were using those reports earlier. So I wanted to directly, you use those reports to make your conclusions. And so I wanted to dig into how that report was 98% off in its summary, like its projection afterwards. All the details they said that they collected, all the studies they did, they were 98% off in their prediction over. And like, so it was completely wrong. I was trying to use that to discredit the study. I never said that. I'm watching this right now. I never fucking said, well, that's the study you used to come to a lot of the conclusions.
No shit. Yeah.
I never fucking brought that up. I just debunked the study and nobody knows what I said.
Yeah, and not only that, that's why you have to bring up what I said in the past. Tyler, that's the thing. Your brain is working on like what your talking points are, and you're not repeating what I said, bro. You're not bringing up like, well, you said this, actually, blah, 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 you know? And I think that's why I was just like, okay, because I didn't, like, maybe I did say that. I don't know. Like, you have to bring it up. I'll be like, oh, yeah, I remember. So I can easily just be like, okay, well, give me more details on whatever you're saying. So that's my thought process. But yeah, Tyler, you did kind of mess up there. By the way, he says, use your headset. Tyler, your mic was low. I don't know if he means like right now or in the video. I think.
No,
oh shit! Yeah. Oh shit! Yeah. That's a lot of fucking feedback. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're good, Tyler. All right, let's move on here.
Not allowing food in. What Israel did was block the UN food. The reason they did this is because the UN was refusing to go with IDF convoys to hand out and distribute that food. The IDF and the Gaza Health Fund, or the health,
but you know that was for safety purposes, right?
Yeah, the Gaza Health Administration was humanitarian administration was handing out food. They refused to work with the IDF and give their food to this Gaza feeding administration out of Israel that the United States is also involved in. They wanted to do it on their own. Israel said no and blocked their trucks from going in. Well, they offered to do it for them, and the UN said no.
But you have to consider the position of the UN, because you have to realize that when these trucks were coming in there, the IDF was not protecting them from the crazy people that were actually trying to raid those trucks, bro. Like the IDF has total security on the border lines, right? They're sending in people that are in trucks there, and they're getting bombarded, just like you mentioned earlier. And the IDF was doing nothing about it, Tyler.
Yes, they were refusing to work with the IDF.
Yes, because they weren't protecting them.
But what we have,
so the IDF was purposely doing that so that they can put the blame game on the UN.
I don't know.
And you know how I say they were purposely doing that. Therefore, I'm trying to prove intent. I'm still trying to improve intent there, Tyler. Am I a mind reader? Do I know that they're doing it? No. But from the outside looking in, that's what I'm trying to prove.
Complete failure on my end. Again, it's the devil. I'm making the devil in the details argument, and I'm not giving the right details in the right order and hammering down on them enough. I should have mentioned that, one, this was a dispute between the UN and the IDF that only lasted a few months. And those trucks continued to flow after that and were flowing before that. It's because they didn't want to go in with an IDF convoy. I never mentioned that. I never mentioned this has been over, and they actually have more humanitarian aid going in afterwards from sky drops and all that than they've ever had. I never mentioned Joe Biden's doc and tying your argument into the Democratic stance on the position. I should have been saying, look, this is what the Trump administration is saying. You're saying Trump is a liar and giving me Joe Biden talking points. This is why Joe Biden spent $500 billion on that dock that he never used in Gaza. And I never did that. I'm leaving so many good dunks on the table, and I'm watching this now like, holy fuck. I was like super focused on debunking everything that I never even debated. I'm just acting as a fact checker. That's it.
Yeah. Damn, Tyler. I'm glad you're honest, because you mentioned before the stream that you were gonna enter this as if this is like not you and it's not me, and you're gonna judge it based off like a criteria of like down the middle, you know? And I kind of get you. Because if you would have mentioned those things, I just would have been like, okay, well, I can't really argue it. But if you would have pressed me on it, like, okay, Jake, if you're saying it's intent, can you what's the deal with this shit? And I probably wouldn't have too much to say on it. But you didn't do it, bro. You didn't press me. You weren't aggressive enough.
Especially if I needed the Madami thing was good. And then
that was good. I need
to keep tying you to the Democratic Party. Yeah. It's like, you sound like fucking Kamala Harris right now, bro.
Yeah.
This is why. You sound like Joe Biden right now, bro. This is why. And Mandami, I could have kept framing you as a leftist because you are using traditionally talking points that you hear from leftists in a lot of places.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Like, that's what I'm saying. In my opinion, it's not leftist talking points, but for you could press me on that and make me look like I'm a fucking stupid lefty, but you didn't do it. You didn't do it, Tyler.
I put it in my introduction 2 times. It was my planned tactic, and I just completely bailed on it. It's a complete failure on my.
Yeah, I get you there, and I'm glad you're telling me this, so that way we can kind of break down our mindsets when we're kind of talking here. This is why I'm telling you, like, oh, I did that on purpose, referring back to XYZ of what you said, right? So this is why it's good to kind of break it down together and to know that, so that for next time our debate, or when we debate this again, it's going to be 20 times more intelligent, you know? So we'll go on that matter.
If there's anything to say that the idea.
Well, that seems to be the case.
I think that sounds like more of speculation to me.
Well,
any proof for that?
Well, remember, I'm trying to prove intent here, because in your position, you're saying this is a war. I'm saying it is not, right? Which I'll get to that later. Just keep that in the button there. But I'm just saying that when you want to say, well, the UN didn't want to work with the IDF, like, yeah, the IDF didn't even care to even protect the UN's drivers and people that were delivering the money in the first place. And I kind of get it. Imagine yourself, if you're driving that truck and you could be threatened by Hamas raiders that are going to fucking go in there and potentially kill you, Tyler, and then the IDF doesn't even fucking bother protecting you. That's a problem, bro.
I agree with you, but if their rejection is we won't work with you at all because we don't want to, the IDF, which was proven in court, has the right to turn down people from going into an active war zone without their supervision. And they've been doing that. So right now, the Gaza Health Humanitarian, I can't remember the name of it off. It's in my notes, unfortunately, but they are set up 4 sites within Gaza, completely protected by the IDF. There's been very minimal casualties, and again, they're handing out 2.2 million meals a day to about 1.2 million people. They're feeding over half the country every single day.
Let me ask you this. Okay, so again, I'm trying to kind of prove the intent of Israel here, that this is not a war, it's a genocide. We talked about the food supplies. You mentioned that, well, the reason why they're bombing out the hospitals is because there's a fucking tunnel system and they just got to take out them. Why are they targeting the food supplies here where it's cattle, literally cattle's farms, middle of nowhere? They're bombing these areas, killing out cattles, bro, killing out wheat farms. What's the excuse on there?
I don't know that particular. I have to go look.
I pushed you on it again, bro. I brought it up again because you had already told me that you didn't know, and I asked you again so you could say it again. That's what I did, bro. Oh man, dude. I have some dirty tactics, don't I? I don't know. Is that fair?
Like, no, it's fair. I didn't have anything for it. It makes me look terrible. It's just like you found a weakness in my garden. You just keep that jab.
And I kept hitting it. Yeah. But now you know my mindset when I'm going into a debate there is that if I see a fucking weakness, I'm going to keep hitting it until you just admit I'm right. Like, that's all I'm going to do. But that was my tactic there to kind of prove, because again, I'm trying to prove intent that this is genocide. And if I can prove it, therefore, my next question would be, then you support genocide. You support people dying. And then I will make the moral claim. And then people will look at you as a big pile of shit. And therefore, I win. You know? Like, that was kind of the intention. Which, by the way, you didn't fall for the Brandon Tatum stuff. And thank goodness you didn't. I thought you would. I honestly thought you would. But you didn't do it. So that was a good thing, man.
Would you assume that's probably because there's tunnels down there?
Maybe, but I would assume since Israel has been able to use evidence to refute almost all claims of genocide, and the
which has never been proven,
the United States government backs them up that war crimes were not being committed. I would assume since Israel has shown to be the more honest, not perfectly honest, but more honest actor between the two.
Really?
Absolutely.
Wait, hold on. The decapitation of 40 babies, which was...
I'm sorry, I had to bring up the fucking propaganda from the beginning about honesty from Israel. So right when you said that, like, they're honest... Yeah, I brought up very old from the beginning of the October 7th situation. So that was another thing that I brought up there purposely there.
Easily
I brought it up a little bit there that it's the Israel and U.S. I tried to tie it back there a little bit, but I should have been like, this is the Trump administration verifying everything Israel's saying. You are calling Trump a liar. Yeah. That would have been it.
And the thing is, dude, I would have said like, well, Trump is let's be honest, he's a Zionist. I would admit that. And look, I have a Trump flag. I love Donald Trump, but I could see his flaws on things that I disagree with him on. You know, doesn't mean I won't support the guy. I'll still vote for him over Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Those guys are satanic pieces of shit. But at the same time, yeah, I still support Donald Trump. But I didn't want to get into that. Totally off topic. But yeah, you know, that's just my frame. Yeah,
just showing separation between you and the stated goals of the crowd, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And
that was propaganda from Israel. They had no proof on that.
Okay, that was a game of telephone. What Israel with the truth.
But you would. you would agree that was fucking propaganda pushed by Israel, correct?
It was, but what actually happened is an IDF soldier said he saw a couple of dead children, not 40, and that got.
Well, dude, Joe Biden even fucking said it in his speech here, bro.
The telephone got played and it got expanded right along what it was, and the soldier that actually made the original claim came out and said that's not what I said. So he tried to even do damage on his own quote.
Okay. But nevertheless, when you had TikTok at the time, distributing a lot of these videos that were coming out of Gaza, and we see a lot of dead Palestinians, etc. Right? It's chaotic, right? Do you at least agree that 2 years, right? It's been 2 years that all this shit's been happening. Do you at least agree with me that the death toll is over 100,000 people?
No. Even Hamas run Gaza Health Ministry says right now it's at 72,000, and Israel's sitting more at 44.
Okay,
see, Tyler, you know how you just referenced the Gaza Ministry, but then in your opening statement, or when I first mentioned the Gaza Ministry, you also said this is kind of propaganda, right?
Yeah. Well, so there. Even the Gaza Health Ministry, which is saying that even the side most charitable to your argument is saying less. So I kind of brought that up.
Okay.
Here's a source even you'd accept.
Okay. But when I asked you, what do you think the death toll is, you accepted 72,000.
I also gave you Israel right after, which is Israel says it's around 50.
Okay. Still pretty bad. And you did say that afterwards, but then I was like, well, in the beginning, the ministry said 45,000. It's not even that far from what Israel's saying right now. So that's another point that I talked there. My whole point there to bring it up, whether it's 72, whether it's 50, or whether it's 100,000, it's fucking still bad. Like that was my point. So I could accept whatever you wanted to accept. At least you can acknowledge that it's in the tens of thousands at least. And that's why I kind of compared it to Hamas killing on October 7th with this 1,200. It's not even comparable. But that's where I was aiming at the time.
I know. And I really wanted to get into that war dispute, and I could have easily framed it as like you're basically punishing Western success. You're saying because we have advanced weaponry and we actually win wars that it's bad and we should have even casualties and more Westerners dying because they suck? That's silly.
Yeah. But you didn't do it, Tyler. You didn't do it. Oh, bad, dude. Okay. All right. So now I'll be better prepped for you on your talking points when this is brought up. And better prep for me as well. Because by the way, the second time around, I'm not gonna even bring up this type of stuff. Why should I? You're already prepped for it.
Yeah,
I was in 2023 though.
The what?
This won't work twice.
Yeah, exactly. And your talking points won't work twice either because I'm going to be better prepped here. And that's a good thing that you're telling me this stuff. I'll tell you my mindset so that way you can be better debaters moving forward. Not only that, even when I debate other Zionists on this topic, at least I get a better idea of my opponent, you know?
October 2025, they said their last guess was 72,000.
Yeah, okay. So I have other... Yo, shut the fuck up. We're having a debate, EOD.
Yeah. Quiet from the peanut gallery. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah.
He's old. He doesn't.
He's old. It is what it is.
Yeah,
okay. So you know what?
I apologize for the interruption. Go ahead. Hey,
shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. I'm trying to, I am destroying this guy. I'm in the middle of destroying Tyler.
Sorry about that, chat. We had a little bit of a disruption there.
That goes back to Riz, right, Tyler? That you were talking about earlier with Penn.
It's also at this point true. I'm watching this again, like, fuck, I made so many bad mistakes. And, like, if you really wanted to break it down point by point, I think I took a lot of small W's, and who the fuck cares?
Yeah, exactly. I'll give you the W's. Okay, fine, whatever. You know, but my mission is to convince the people that are watching, not my opponent, you know? So that's my mentality when I go into these types of debates.
I would say, would you agree that's over 100K? He says, no, it's probably around 75 to 80K.
I'd say 50.
Okay, you would say 50. Okay, but even though you just stated that, okay, so let me check. Okay, you would say 50. I want to know where you get those numbers because that actually aligns with the health ministry in Gaza. They say 45K. And then you're saying, no, it's probably 50. You're still fucking saying that it's actually more than the Gaza propaganda that's coming out saying that that's 45K.
When I checked it last week, it was 72 from the Gaza.
Okay, so let's say 72. Okay, so post October 7th, we know that Hamas has killed 1,200 people in that attack, right? 1,200 people. Say 1,200 people. You would agree, okay, 72,000. Would you accept that number? 72,000.
Yeah,
okay, fine, 72,000. 72,000. Okay, so in the last 2 years, how many more Israelis have died in the hands of Hamas?
I think it's only a couple thousand more.
what's it like? What 1,000, 2,000?
Let's say 3,000 just to be safe.
Okay,
It's significantly less.
So let's do 3,000. So they killed about 4,000 people in the last 2 fucking years, where Israel, and he's accepting this number, 72,000, right? This is not a fucking war at all. Okay, not even fucking close. So again, we're going back to my definition of genocide, right? Which I get from the Genocide Convention, right? And they define it: any of the following acts committed with intent to destroy in whole or in part a nation, ethnic, racial, or religious group. Okay, this all falls under the definition that this is not a war. This is a genocide that's being committed by Israel.
Okay, so going into that again, you're talking about. Let me get the pen, please. Oh, actually, you hold it for right now. Give it back when you start talking. You're talking about less than 3% of the population of Gaza right now. So even if we accept the Hamas numbers, you're still talking about 3% of the population right now. And we're not even splitting that up between combatants and civilians. We're talking about total deaths. Israel's claiming to have killed about 20 to 25,000 members of Hamas or Hamas affiliates or IJF members.
Wait, really? They claim that?
Yes.
25,000 Hamas members that they've killed?
20 to 25,000 members of Hamas, IJF, or other factions in that area.
So then that would mean, because they're estimated around 20,000 Hamas to 40,000 Hamas members in totality. So if they're claiming that they've killed 25,000, right? 25,000 Hamas members?
I know where you're going with this. Just to clear this up, they're
one.
not claiming that they killed over half. Hamas has already replaced their losses. Hamas has said this.
Hamas said this, but if you look at
Hamas,
well, I can debate you, Gibbs, really quick if you want.
I mean,
I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of upset that Gibbs fucking is correcting that or whatever. That's why I was just I kind of attacked Gibbs a little bit. Like, okay, I'll debate you then, Gibbs.
Yeah. That definitely should have been me saying something like that. And I think right here I said, got it.
That's why. And to be honest, that is a part of my personality. When I'm debating somebody and the mod helps my opponent, then I tell the mod, like, I'll just debate both of you then if you're going to be doing.
Ted Cruz tactic of calling out the media in the middle of the debate and getting a huge cheer. Yeah,
exactly.
Real quick, we're going into. I make the devil in details argument again. I bring up the 2-to-1 ratio, but even then, it doesn't dispel your accusation of inhumane. I needed to explain why a 2-to-1 ratio in urban combat is actually extremely humane compared to all urban combat in human history. If you look at the Viet Cong, what we did there was like a 9-to-1 ratio. You look at what we did in Tokyo in Germany, it was hundreds of thousands of people died, like that were not part of the army. Like, this is extremely good and humane. I needed to explain that. I never brought it up.
Okay. All right. That's a good way of putting it, Tyler. And I'll tell you this, like, yeah, I did attack Gibbs there for a little bit, but that's just a part of my aggressive tactics there. So no offense to Gibbs. He did a great job moderating.
Just a point of clarification. Just a point of clarification. Hamas has said that they've replaced their numbers.
They have,
but I don't know.
Okay, but let's look at the IDF.
Look at the ratio.
Let's look at the IDF. They have like 170,000 soldiers of an army, and then on top of that, another 450,000 on call. So they have a totality of around like 600,000 soldiers here. It's not even comparable to Hamas. So in a war, I would assume that they would need a military. These people that are being bombed out, their food supply, their hospitals, their homes, 92% of homes have been absolutely obliterated by Israel in the Gaza Strip. So again, when you look at these numbers,
do you disagree with that, Tyler? 90% of homes have been.
I think it's significantly less. I thought it was around 60% of homes.
Okay, well, let's just go with the lower number. Like, do you think it's okay that 60% of residential?
Okay, so Gibbs actually goes after you on right afterwards. So Gibbs is being neutral on this, and when you were saying, like, when you stated, like, no, it's about 60%, not 90. It's still bad, Tyler. That's the thing. Like, it doesn't actually hurt my argument that I'm trying to make.
I think that right after I get into the specifics on that, I think, though, the only thing I have here is you keep focusing specifically on the proportionality, and I'm trying to keep opening it up to tactics or the blame of who started the war, and it's just getting completely drowned out by the proportionality argument over and over and over. It's like you're not even, like, listening to me. You're just nailing this fucking point home.
Yeah, I'm trying to fucking punch you in your fucking jaw and break it. Like, that was my mentality, Tyler. But Gibbs was honest, like, right off the bat when I attacked him, and then he goes and asks you a tough question right afterwards. So that was good on Gibbs.
I thought it was around 60% of homes.
Okay, well, let's just go with the lower number. Like, do you think it's okay that 60% of residential
So I got to get into a few things.
It's
that we're
okay.
talking about here.
I think that's okay.
Yes, because again of the context and the details, we have an entire tunnel system underneath. Who's going to go into these tunnels?
Yeah, so
and
kill
blow them up,
60% of the houses.
blow them
Go for
up?
it, guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, hold on, just
built into them.
Yes, just the Jake's side and Jake's point here. I mean, wouldn't that? It's like I don't want to be the conspiracy theorist, but I do look like I was shown, so I'll pretend. But it's real convenient that there's a lot of tunnels under 60% of the area for the group that's getting ethnic cleanse. You know, like,
Actually, Gibbs went after you pretty hard.
I mean, let's just like it's not like they have excavated. How are they building these tunnels? Like, I mean, how much proof of this is there? I mean, I know. I mean, obviously, I mean, my position on Israel's known. Like, but I've seen some claims about these tunnels. Like, how are they building all these tunnels? Like that 60% of houses are destroyed. Sus. What are you going to say that?
Well, okay, so not all of this is the fault of the people in Gaza. Some of these people in Gaza have reported that one day they were building their home. They woke up the next day and there's a guy with a rifle in his hand saying, "We're going to put this tunnel entrance in here, and there's nothing you can do about it." So sometimes they're hostages and of their own government. Other times they're willing participants. We saw with the hostages that came back after that they were kidnapped by Gaza. They were being held in civilian homes. They were being held in UNRWA tents. The UN sponsored people to hold hostages. Probably unwillingly. I'm not blaming the UN here, but UN money was used to hold hostages. They are manipulating all this aid coming in and using it against the Israeli people.
Can you move your mic closer?
Yeah,
by the way,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
You're quieter speaking.
Well, I was just talking to you.
Yeah, you're fine. Go
So
ahead.
I want to address Jake's proportions argument that he just made because it was a twofold argument for genocide. I think we already addressed the hospitals and arguments of that nature. So I want to talk about proportions. It doesn't matter if Israel has the better army, then it was a miscalculation for Iran to fund 6 proxies, 6 front war they were fighting, not just against Hamas. That's just and Gaza. That's just one of the 6 fronts. They were also fighting Hezbollah, the Houthis, the Palestinian, the PA, and other small proxies within other regions.
And Israel encouraged it.
6 people were attacking. It doesn't matter if they were encouraging.
They did encourage it. It's not victim blaming. Israel was literally supporting the funding of Hamas.
This was 20 years ago.
2020.
You see how I don't address the proportion thing. I go to, well, Israel encouraged it. So what do you have to that?
Israel encouraged it. Here's something that happened 20 years ago that has almost nothing to do with it. I should that has nothing to do with it anyways.
You didn't dismiss it. You actually engaged with my argument.
I engaged it. I dove right into it and fact checked it and abandoned my awesome. I'm making the point right there.
Yeah, you did. And I was just like, oh well, Israel encouraged it. The funding.
But hold on.
I'm sorry, 2005. Okay, go for it.
Let me address this
All right.
before we get to the
Like,
next vague claim.
This guy's crazy.
Argument. You were arguing because 60, 70,000 people have died here.
Okay.
They've only lost 4,000. That's proof of a genocide. That proof of a genocide you're giving means that America's committed genocide in every single war it's been because we have better military.
You can't commit a genocide during war. That's the thing.
This is a war.
This is not a war.
This is a war.
I've already demonstrated how they're destroying the food. They're destroying hospitals. Your excuse is because there's tunnels. It's like, how does Hamas that has Flintstones technology, literally Flintstones technology, able to build all these fucking tunnels all around Gaza to where Israel says, oh, we have no choice just to bomb out the entire area and kill 100,000 people or 72,000 people. It's not a leftist argument. It's a logical argument. How do they do it then?
I understand the leftist argument you're making. They don't have the same tools, so we have to treat them with kid gloves because they're an oppressed minority. But a 6-front war attacked Israel to start this. They started it by attacking Israel with the intent to wipe it off the map. Israel responded by saying the governing body of this state has to go before we will have peace. That is the intent. That is their goal.
Let me jump in here because I feel like y'all might be talking past each other. So you're sitting here talking about intent quite a bit, right? And you're saying it's not a war, right? I guess here's my question. I guess to you first, and then we'll go to Jake to Tyler. So, okay, I think we can all agree that Hamas, since it's in their charter, their intent is to commit a genocide and wipe out the Israeli state. Right? That's something I think we all agree.
You can make the argument with the entire fucking Middle East because this is what we've been told for years that they want to wipe out Jews, etc., Israeli state, etc. So you can make that argument on any Palestinians, but is it true? Can you prove that?
Well, I mean, I guess that's a good question, but I guess the question I have is, you're saying it's not a war.
No.
Okay. Well, Hamas, in at least in Gaza, not in the West Bank, is the illegally elected government, and they're still supported by the population, right? And they attacked Israel. At what point does it become a war? I guess is my question. What would make it? What would Hamas and the Gazans have to do in order for it to be classified as a war?
To get other nations involved.
So,
because again,
like Lebanon and Syria
Hamas does not have an army. Tyler just mentioned right now that Israel's wiped out 25,000 Hamas members. But according to the numbers, then that would leave around 15,000 members compared to 600,000 of a military army. This is not but again, the damage is
Hezbollah joined in. Were they an army then? Was it a war then?
But they're not. They never joined armies.
But that's the thing. My point is here, and that's a very good question by Gibbs. Is at one point when does it become a war? Which is a great fucking question. I would say this. Look, Gaza or Hamas in general have not gained the support of, for example, Iran, people that actually have a war to start an actual war against Israel, which they won't do it because Israel's backed up by the United States. Fuck no, they ain't gonna do that shit. They're not even gonna touch it. The United States is fucking we're the powerhouse, baby. So I get it there, but
the Houthis, they have military. They've attacked.
They have. Okay, well,
then we dropped the most bombs since World War II on them, but
yeah, for sure. And that's the thing with Israel is that they have a war. Like by that definition, you would have. But that's the definition. If you're going to define when does it become a war, Israel's bombed many other nations outside of just Gaza, right? From the Houthis to Rafah, etc. Like they are dropping bombs at even Iran, right? So because they drop bombs on them, does that mean that they're starting a war by that definition?
Well, I mean, if you're asking me, I'm not in the debate, but
okay.
But sure. I mean, if you want me to answer, I would say.
I'm just saying I would reject.
Yeah, so go ahead. I'll let you answer.
You're just rejecting this as a war.
Let me ask you that, Tyler. You know, if Israel has bombed other nations, and would you consider that a war?
Well, it depends. There's different levels of attack and bombing. Like if there are conflicts that don't result in a greater war, there might be a little skirmish over here. But one of your points that I think that you actually got onto that you could have hammered down is Hamas isn't the actual military of Gaza. They're a terrorist group.
They're a terrorist group.
With the Houthis, they've taken over land in these countries.
That's true. Yeah,
that's not Lebanon actually doing it. It's not Yemen actually doing it. It's the groups that are actually not part of the government. And Lebanon, the Hezbollah is part of the Lebanese government, but the Houthis are a completely new governing force that claims that they're the rightful heirs.
Which Gibbs brought up. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
Gaza is the governing force of Palestine, and we could have disputed that, but you could have brought that up. Now, you did make a false claim, and I never fucking brought it up. You said that Iran hasn't been involved. Iran was who coordinated these 6 fronts to attack Israel at once. Iran is who funded them. Iran is who backs them. They are all proxies of Iran, and I just let that shit slide.
I think I misspoke there, to be honest. I misspoke there, but you could have addressed that to me, and I would have just been like, "Oh, my bad on that." You're right.
But Gibbs let you go too, and then you answered Gibbs with a rhetorical question.
I know.
And kind of dodged his question, and he didn't press you on it either. He just let it go too. It's like everyone's just kind of like letting you go, and then like Gibbs is holding my fucking balls to the fire with his questions to
me. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I guess I'm just trying to when I ask these questions, I'm trying to prove my point here is that. You know, like the original point where you were saying like, well, Hamas started the war, right? They bombed them first. But then I can make the argument that, well, Israel's bombed other nations. Would you consider that a war? And then you say, well, that depends, right? So that again, I'm trying to get into the clarity of what starts that war. And Gibbs was the one that brought it up, so that's why I asked that question.
I gotta let my dogs out real quick. I'll be right back.
Go for it, Tyler. Anyways, Wicked fucking Wally. Another cup. What? Africa. Typical day ending in Y. Yes, sir. Typical day ending in Y. Wicked Wally. Good to see you in the chat, bro. But we're breaking down this debate just so me and Tyler can kind of learn from it and kind of and dude, shout out to Tyler. Tyler's actually being honest with a lot of his mistakes there. And if you guys ever see my debates, I am pretty offensive driven. I remember that there was this one fucking liberal, I forgot his name, Duck. He looks like Duck Dynasty. And that motherfucker was saying like, I don't care to debate Jake because he's pretty brutal. He's pretty brutal. But I do try to be a brutal debater, man. That is purposely done. Well, to be honest, it's kind of my personality. So I'm kind of adjusted to it, to be honest. His chair is studying hard. Come on, Wally. In fact, Wally, I was sitting on the chair that you were sitting on, bro, and I did kind of feel the farts that you were laying into that chair, man. So maybe that's how I was able to be as aggressive as I was. I was feeling the farts of Wicked Wally, and that's how I was able to defeat Tyler. Those farts really helped me out, Wicked. So thank you a lot for that, Tyler. Now you're back. Okay, so you ready to move on here? Actually, Tyler, how much more time do you have?
I have another about 35, 45 minutes, and then I only have to go like a couple blocks away. So if you want to finish, I'll be 20 minutes, half an hour, and I'll be back.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'll let you go with your family. I know you still have to like do shopping for Thanksgiving tomorrow. You have the sides today, right?
I took care of that all
Okay.
beforehand.
Okay, it's all good. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, we can end it afterwards, man. No big deal. But I do want to kind of fast forward a little bit because our debate was a good amount of time. I'll do it. I'll do about 10 minutes.
All right.
See where this lands here.
Dominating force in both of these regions. Israel's calculation was we could either have the Palestinian Authority in control of both of these lands, or we could split it up. We could take this less radical group at the time, because Hamas wasn't always a terrorist entity, but much less radical group at the time. Put them in power and hope that they do something different. Something the United States does all the time. We back the rebels in a certain area, and then those rebels take over, and we hope they moderate. And something like what we're seeing with Syria right now, the current rebels that we aided or that were aided.
What's your definition of less radical, though? So you're claiming that's
something the government does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but your claim of Hamas was actually very less radical when they were funding them.
What
Is that's your argument here? Is that they were just less radical?
Less radical means is less.
Oh, this is where the funding
Like they
argument
didn't want
comes
to kill
in.
the United States.
They may have, but they were less of a threat to the
okay.
government than the Palestinians.
They still wanted to kill the United States. They still wanted to kill the Jewish people. However, they were a little less radical than the rest of them.
They were just a shitty small group at the time.
Okay.
The Palestinian Authority was a threat. Now the Palestinian Authority is.
But why? Hold on. That's crazy to me because they said no, we're not going to stop. Look, if they were so small and Qatar's giving them fucking millions and millions and millions of dollars that led. And by the way, the election in 2005 that Hamas they didn't win the popular vote there. They won through plurality. So the people there, the majority of the people didn't even want Hamas, right? So I would argue that, and especially the Israeli government, the Mossad would agree with me. They would say that the funding that Israel allowed actually led to October 7th. It led to the election of Hamas in the first place. So this is why I'm going back to Gibbs here when he says, well, how is it a false flag? It seems like Israel is allowing their enemies to be funded, even though they have the power to stop that shit. And again, now years later, Hamas throws out 5,000 fucking missiles to Israel and then says, okay, now it's self-defense, guys. We're going to bomb the shit out of them. And then, this will end after we get the fucking hostages. Gets the hostages, still continues. Ceasefire's fucking broken. And okay, so the point is, though, that I'm saying here, Tyler, is that it seems like I'm getting a bunch of excuses time and time again. Not only that, Benjamin Netanyahu is being investigated on these war crimes of food, bombing food industries, etc. in Gaza, right? My question to you, Tyler, I assume you would say Benjamin Netanyahu's innocent, right? I would assume that 100%. Would you be okay with Benjamin Netanyahu? He's your hero.
He's a hero. All of your heroes.
Benjamin Netanyahu is actually America first. I'm not. Benjamin Netanyahu is. But really quick, Tyler, I want to ask you this question because
we'll come to the audience in a bit. By the way, a perfect time to segue to this. Here in about 10 minutes, we're going to let you go to closings. I'm going to give you 5 minutes each for closing.
Tyler, that was a good Riz moment, bro. Right? We got to have those Riz moments during debates. That's for sure.
There are sparkles of it here and there, but again, like I'm spending a bunch of time debunking your claim. You dispute the definition of one word and then use that to just dismiss the whole claim. And then you brought up the election where Hamas wasn't the majority picked. I need to bring up the polls that I brought up in the beginning. 70% of the country approves of Hamas's attack on Israel. And
yeah, sure.
I just let it slide. And then in that shit, you're saying, well, Gaza just fires 5,000 missiles at Israel, and they can claim self-defense and go in and blow them up, and you make that sound preposterous. I needed to rephrase that. I needed to say, whoa, if the U.S. had fucking 5,000 missiles fired at it, you wouldn't say go blow up Canada or whoever shot them? That's fucking crazy.
Well, okay. Yeah. I get you there. But that's the thing, Tyler. I think you were kind of bad at comparing hypotheticals. Because I do use a lot of hypotheticals here. If that's your claim, then would you do this XYZ, right? That's just my debate style, you know? But to be honest, even with the funding, etc., with Hamas, a lot of my points was trying to prove intent. So my whole thing was, well, hold on, Israel supported the funding of Qatar to fund Hamas. They did fund them during the election. And if you would have brought that up, I would have gone into more details on the election stuff because I was kind of versed on that. But my whole thing was to prove the intent part. And if I could prove the intent part, then I would say Israel bad, defund Israel. And our money shouldn't be going to killing innocent people. And if you agree with the genocide, that would make to my point, you know? And that's whether you believe it or not, or what the case is, but that's the direction that I was going. This is why I hit you hard on a lot of these things.
That is missing from my document. I think I need to have an argument of that. Like, yeah, even if you think this is a genocide, let's take a look at some of the other countries in the region. Are you really going to say cut ties with Saudi Arabia and make our gasoline spike $3 a gallon because you don't like that they're a totalitarian regime? Are you going to say let's stop trading with China because of the Uyghur Muslims? Like, you can make the case with any country, but the only one you care about is Israel.
Yeah, and the thing is, my counter argument to that isn't me. My argument's not completely cutting ties with Israel, like completely defunding them. However, they are the most funded out of the entire Middle East, right? I would say, and this goes back to a totally different argument of which we never brought up, was about the American lobbyists, right? That Israel has influence on that. When I talk about defunding Israel, it's about defunding the lobbyists and defunding the influence that they have on us to help them with the wars over there in the Middle East, right? That goes into a completely different.
That might have helped me. That might have helped me, to be honest with you, actually land a couple, because I've got meme arguments ready for that. As soon as you attack a U.S.-based lobby group, that's when I call you a leftist and say you hate the First Amendment, because those are American citizens. So inspired some actual charisma from you then.
Probably so. And then I would make the argument that I don't even think they should be labeled as American lobbyists. They should be labeled as foreign lobbyists. Then we would go into that argument, XYZ, et cetera, right? But that's kind of like my position there when it comes to Israel. I'm not anti-Semitic. I don't hate these people or whatever, but I do think that they have a little too much influence within our society. And when it comes to freedom of speech, right? Like the whole anti-Semitic trope and stuff like that, especially with the Charlie Kirk stuff, we could have got into that. I'm curious to know your perspective on stuff like that, but we'll get into it another time. But because we're gonna have more shows. By the way, Tyler, a weekly show that you come on VOPod and discuss this type of stuff. All right. So we have another
one planned. That's gonna be some good fucking times.
Yes, it is, man. But anyways, let's move on here. We got like 30 minutes with you, so let's do it.
And then, since it's such a good topic, we all got to go to the audience, and y'all got to get a chance to do audience questions. So y'all have about 10 minutes, and then we'll go to closings. And then you audience people, y'all start thinking of questions, and then chat. I encourage chat. Y'all also to get in on this. I will ask the questions. But if you're here at the debate event,
you did that because I forgot the question.
You'll get your question. All right, go ahead, Jake. I'm sorry I cut you off there. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. I'm glad you did that because I forgot the question that I was going to ask for a second because I have been drinking. And then I remembered it the last fucking
minute.
minute.
I speak drunkenese. I know.
Yeah, so I got it the last minute. But I wanted to ask Tyler this specific question here. Tyler doesn't believe any of the quote-unquote propaganda that's being said on Benjamin Netanyahu. He's not a war criminal. He's not depriving food from the Gazan people. He's not doing any of that shit, right? Now, let me ask you this. Tyler, would you be 100% okay with would you be 100% okay with Benjamin Netanyahu being investigated for these war crimes and being found in?
Depends on who's doing the investigation. I think the UN has proven themselves.
Do you want Israel to do an investigation?
I want the United States to do it.
Okay. I just wanted to ask that question there with Tyler.
Nothing to hide. We're gonna.
Okay, so I just want you to know that he's trying to. Last question. Do we have time for?
You got plenty of time.
Okay, so really quick, Tyler. Something kind of bothered me. You know who Brandon Officer Tatum is?
Okay, this is where I bring up with you.
Okay. So hold on really quick. There was one stream that I had with you. I think it was on Grid One Motorsports. We were hanging out, and shout out to Grid One, man, for setting this shit up, 100%. But there was something that you said in that exchange because we do fight about this a lot, where you stated that the people of Gaza fucked around and they found out. That was one of your. That was literally a quote from him, right? We agree with that.
Hell yeah.
So Officer Brandon Tatum made a similar claim on Pierce Morgan.
Push that button. They keep saying your mic's not on. Yeah. Okay. Say something real quick.
Yes.
Can y'all hear that?
Press it again.
Yeah. Press it again.
All right. Say something.
Floppy donkey wiener.
Say a word.
Oh yeah. You just got to speak closer to it when you're talking to you. Very slow.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Jake. I apologize again.
It's just low.
Yeah. We'll fix it. Sorry, guys.
My voice is a lot louder than yours, Tyler. So
No, yeah, that's fine.
Put his time back up.
Yeah, he's got time. Don't worry. Go ahead.
It's all good.
I got a timer thing going.
Yeah, so I was going to mention Brandon Tatum. He was on Pierce Morgan. I want to get your opinion on what he stated on that show. So Brandon Officer Tatum stated that the Israeli government has no duty to even feed these people. They're allowed to block out, which, by the way, you're very outdated on your counterpoints because people like Brandon Officer Tatum can admit that it is a genocide and that it's totally okay that Israel is starving these people because they started the war, right? The war. So Officer Brandon Tatum in that podcast stated, you know what? Israel has the right to starve the 2 million people there. The fact that they feed them, they should be grateful, but they have the right to basically commit a genocide on the Gaza people, right? This was his claim. Do you agree with Brandon, Officer Tatum?
No, I was when Saudi Arabia
was more of a fucking Zionist.
Saudi Arabia was actually starving Yemen when there is actual starvation that can be proven and actual malnourishment that can be proven going on. I was not in favor of that. I sided with Bernie on that one. So if the context is correct, I would agree with you. It really just depends on the context.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, he did make that claim. I thought it was wild.
I get my news from the news. I get my quotes from B.
Was that?
We should skip to the closing because I feel like I fucking really fumbled there hard. And the first couple lines of your closing, you're like, he just restated his.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Let's get to the closing really quickly. Actually, can we go over the Adam King? Do we have time a little bit with the Adam King debate that you had with him, the exchange?
Yeah.
When he came on, and then we'll get to the closings. Hold on. Where is it? Here you go. This is where he comes on. I want you to kind of break down a little bit of that, which is a good one because you are going to be debating Adam next week. So maybe it's kind of good to kind of break this one down.
Yeah, that'll be on my channel probably later this weekend. Wonderful host, Grid, for paying and providing for some questions coming in here. What I think comes over, I believe, is it's
okay.
Bombardment to Gaza. I guess that's the EU.
All right, hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, here it is.
2 million.
Yes. So what happened?
So then,
I need to go to secure location. They're really.
Yeah.
All right, here's Adam.
All right. So Tyler.
Yes, sir.
Under the UN Genocide Convention of 1948, genocide requires three things: intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group.
Mm-hmm.
Would you not agree that there was still a form of clear intent that erasure of civilians was okay, as the lowest estimation of 60% plus of civilian homes resulted in destruction based upon actions chosen even in pursuit of your justification being so-called tunnels?
You said civilian homes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'd say that if you were arguing that there was a genocide against homes, then you might have something there. But the fact that they were relocating the people out of those homes prior to, many of them were held there by gunpoint by their own government, but they attempted to move these people out of that area prior to bombing, which is the 400,000 people out of Gaza City before they initially went in. And that's when the actual massive destruction to homes happened. I'd say that shows their intent to preserve as many lives from that ethnicity as possible with still maintaining a war.
Okay, so that removes the first qualifier to the definition that's provided: intent to destroy. So regardless if you remove them or not, it's still destroyed. That's
the intent part
towards the people.
Intent to destroy their homes, their infrastructure.
And just intent to destroy. In whole or in
He thinks that the first clause, they're talking about groups. They're talking about 4 different types of groups: national, ethnic, religious, whatever. And he interprets national to mean like destroying their nation as a physical object and not a national group. And it's a misunderstanding of what they mean by the provision.
Would you agree that the Gazan people actually have check marks on all of the ethnic, religion, etc. definition of that, right? They all fall under those categories?
Yes, if I believe that Israel was actually trying to wipe them out and kill all of them, then I would believe it would qualify as a genocide because they are ethnically a different group.
Well, what if they intended just to wipe out like 10%? Would you still consider that a genocide?
If they intend to wipe out 10%, I would consider that murder. I don't know. It depends on what the intent is.
But Tyler, your definition was intent. And it doesn't need to be that it had to be the majority. Like that's what I was kind of basing it off of.
Yeah.
And so
like if you just say like, look, there's a bunch of people in this place we want, they're refusing to leave, we're going to kill them all. It's just happenstance they all happen to be the same ethnicity, but when it's just because they're people in this place, then the intent is to murder. But if the intent is let's kill all the people in this place that are dirty heaps, then you're going into genocidal intent. It has to have that component of killing them because of their ethnicity, religion.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Because of their ethnicity and their religion, etc. But wouldn't you say that Israel really does want that Gaza Strip to complete, the process of it being an entire Israel state?
No, I think they have.
You don't think so?
They absolutely had the chance to take it at any point between 1949 when they forced Egypt out of the region. Egypt had Gaza under martial law, and they forced them out after Egypt attacked Israel and lost, took them hands 6-on-1, and they took the region over. Instead of kicking the populace out and saying this is ours now, they tried a 60-year-long peace process, which ended up having their own elections and Israel withdrawing their occupation. At any point, the United States, fucking Russia, fucking China, any other nation would have like, all right, get the fuck out. This is ours now. If you want to get violent, you catch these hands. Israel has been kind of a pussy about it.
Oh, they're just nice guys. Yeah, they're nice guys. They're nice people. Yes. Yeah. We'll kill 100,000 of you, but we're really nice guys about it. Okay, Tyler. All right, let's move on here. I got you there.
Part a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group.
Yeah, but not their homes. It intends to destroy the group itself, not where they live.
No, that's the third qualifier.
What do you mean? What do you mean one more time? Third qualifier.
And not only that, too, that first word there is nation. Nation.
A national, ethnic, or racial or religious group. I don't know what that has to do with their
still
homes.
A nation. They're attacking the nation's homes. It's destroying their homes.
Yeah, but the word group there applies to people specifically. It's a group of people. Their homes are just their domiciles, and if they relocated those people out of their homes to destroy those homes because of the tunnels and tunnel entrances and whatnot.
So you think that it's a good justification to destroy people's homes?
Yes.
Cool.
Okay, then he shoots out there. All right. Glad we got that. I mean, I would say that I think the Gazan people actually categorize on all of the they check mark the ethnicity, the race, the religion, etc. Like I think they fall under all of that. And I think because they fall under all of that, I think Adam King is coming from the point that, well, then it would be a nation of people. I think he's just using nation as like an umbrella term for it. That's what I think he's doing.
It's a super genocide if they check all 4 boxes.
Yeah, it'd be a super genocide. Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's get to the closing statements here.
A national, ethnic, racial, or religious group.
Okay. That was for me. Hold on.
I still
Don't
was.
be fucking stones people, even if they attack them 6 on.
Oh,
Which one of y'all is going to make me more money? And
okay, hold on.
But I will tell you this: I will. At the end of the day, one in front of me, fucking
that guy once had a racist problem.
Left-wing streamer left.
Yeah.
Jake Lewis thing.
Wait, what the
If
fuck?
you harbor terrorists,
Well, that's okay.
Is that it?
Shut the
Hold
fuck
on.
up.
I still
Hold on. Actually, I think that came before it. I'm sorry, dude. That was before the Adam
put
King
and
stuff.
money into taking care of the Palestinians.
Here it is. Okay.
And the Palestinian people was releasing hostages.
maybe there's some few extremists, maybe, but at the end of the day, I don't think that's going to be the ending message. And I think Zionists are overreacting to Fuentes. Do you agree with me on that? Or
First,
country as oversight, and the Palestinians did an internal information.
this whole Spurg out right here in his closing statement was
Okay, sorry.
The U.S. doesn't have this. This was a literally paid that area to do.
Nick Fuentes.
just kidding. These are jokes. Twitch.
All right.
But I will tell you this. Yeah, I people that are concerned. Cool.
Sorry, Tyler. I don't have the timestamps, bro.
Yeah, who's Hitler and Z, right? What's going to be the message?
All right.
Who was the app? You were the
Okay, here you
app.
go.
So you get to go first.
Okay, absolutely. So I
So you
kind of
get
want
5 minutes.
I want to restate a little bit from my introduction. That was not disputed. We definitely they didn't dispute me on any of these.
Right off the bat, your
claims
introduction.
showing that America becomes a better country as a result of Israel and global hegemony in general, lower cost of living, more peaceful world, higher consumer confidence globally. We see a vast amount of trade, bringing the cost of goods down in the United States, and the result is a better life situation for everybody here. America First is benefited by interventionism, as backed up by the person who is leading the America First movement. Next, with Israel in specific, we need somebody in that area to do oversight, give us intel, be a staging ground for the United States, and oversee the 30% of oil that runs through that region, as well as vastly more trade. So on top of that, going back into the genocide claim, I think the two factors here we saw were what was being bombed, and most of that was met with Israeli intelligence showing hospitals. Hospitals were staging grounds. This has been proven time and time again. They've raided them with cameras. They've shown satellite information. When Gaza was releasing hostages, Hamas fighters walked out of a hospital with rifles with those hostages. They were holding that hospital at the time and using it for a military staging ground while they were releasing hostages in a ceasefire deal. They exposed themselves. They've said countless times on the world stage, it's not just Israel. They want to wipe out all Jews worldwide. They are openly for this. They openly say they will let the Gazan people die for the cause. Iran backs martyr funds. They literally pay Gazans who are hungry. They've been hungry long before the war because Hamas keeps them that way. They'll pay these Gazans to have a family member die on camera. They're called martyr funds. You can go look that up as well. Once they die on camera, their family is taken care of. They're extorting the welfare of their family to get somebody to commit suicide for PR causes. We can see that the terror tunnels, these terror tunnels, You question the international aid. These terror tunnels were built because of international aid going into Gaza without proper oversight. They took millions of tons of concrete meant for bunkers for the Gazan people and instead turned them to terror tunnels that Hamas uses to stage war. This is what happens when UN international aid goes in unsupervised. Israel said during this war, no more of that. If your aid isn't properly supervised, vetted, and distributed the way we say, you're not going in. And the UN threw a shit fit. They held up their trucks for 6 months. And then guess what? They eventually conceded. And now 2.2 million meals are being distributed a day. This was a squabble between two different entities. At the time, the Palestinian people were feeling the hurt. But that's because their government attacked Israel. To say that Israel does not have the right to go in and respond to a blatant attack just because they have better weapons is saying essentially the U.S. doesn't have the same right. The U.S. didn't have the right to go against Japan for Pearl Harbor. Distinguishing this is absolutely a war. A crime was committed against Israel. They were attacked. It started a war. Israel was responding. The quote I want to say here is a lie gets around the world before the truth has the time to lace up its boots. We had claims of genocide.
That's Winston Churchill, right? That said that?
I don't remember. Honestly, my closing is much better than I remember. I hit all the fucking major discussion points throughout the argument here. I restated what I needed was after I restated my all the points from my introduction that you never addressed. I should have just hammered down. He never addressed a single one.
You should have done that.
I never did. And that's the only thing. Otherwise, my closing was pretty fucking good.
All right. Yeah, I think you just remember me mocking your closing statement. I think that's what you remember, and you're like, "Fuck, maybe it was bad."
Yeah, I think I believe you.
Yeah, you believed me. That's the thing. It's called what's it called? Fucking psychological warfare, right? Yeah, that's what it is.
Claims of war crimes, claims of famine, all of which have now been refuted, but it took 2 years and multiple investigations. The investigation into war crimes was done by the Biden State Department, someone who's not known for being super pro-Israel. They were trying to stop Israel from even going into Rafah. They did an investigation into all the claims of war crimes done with U.S. aid and found zero proof that they actually happened. Most of them are partial information. And then we saw it deeper. Amnesty International, one of the people making the claims, they did an internal review of the study that said war crimes were being committed and found out extreme amounts of bias and selective information were used to come to those conclusions. So even the organizations claiming war crimes vetted their own claims and found that they weren't verified. Israel has had enough proof to back that they are doing the right thing on several levels, and the fact that they're actually putting significant amounts of effort and money into taking care of the Palestinians, something Hamas is not doing. Hamas is actively killing their own people if they don't help them in the war effort. Israel's saving them. I'd say that Gaza is probably responsible for almost as many civilian deaths Hamas is responsible for almost as many civilian deaths within Gaza as Israel is at this point. Almost, not as many, but almost, because they are multiple surveillance footage shows them executing their own people. So I'd say it's going to take a couple of years for a lot of my claims to be fully vindicated by a third party because investigations take time, whereas a lie, you can just go online and say it and people are going to repeat it. So I won't be vindicated until this war is over and we've had time for people to go in and take a look at everything. But as of the information I see right now, mostly all Israeli actions, and I do say mostly because there are a few you can name: a girl's car getting 300 bullets shot into it, the ambulance that did contain 3 members of Hamas, but it contained also 14 other people that was blown up, and then Israel told 3 different stories about the headlights not being on. There are instances where Israel's not done a good thing, but you see Israel punishes their own troops for it. They send people to jail in their own country for crimes against Gazans. All it has to be is proven. Even the most recent one, the Great video that came out, that person is currently under investigation and suspended from the army. There's just every instance of Israel doing a bad thing is followed up with Israel taking responsibility for it and punishing their own people. There's no instances of Hamas going too far in the government, not just patting them on the back and saying, do more. So one side is adhering to the rules of war. The other side is fighting a PR campaign. Israel can lose the PR campaign all day because they are crushing in that war. They took out 6 fronts. That's it.
All right.
Okay. All right. Now I want you to do a full breakdown of your closing statement. You said it's better than what you remember, right?
I don't remember doing this. I actually went through every major argument and squabble we had and reframed it to how I saw it ending and my victory anyways. I was restating that I won every one of these exchanges, even if it was true or not.
Right.
Closing statement. The only 2 weak points I had were I think I gave you a little bit too many concessions. I gave you 3 anecdotes where Israel did bad things where I should have just given you 1 and then made my point after that. Hamas, there's no too far. They can, as many as bad things they can do, they just get patted on the back and promoted, showing one has a line, one doesn't. Other than not hammering down that me restating all these points was you not challenging them, I think that was a better closing than I thought I did. That was a pretty solid close. That's probably the strongest thing I said all night.
Okay. All right. I mean, I can give you credit on being honest here. So you would say that your closing statement was a lot stronger than your opening, by far.
Stronger than my opening and stronger than how I actually did throughout most of the questions. Yeah, I'd say that the only confident part I have is my closing now.
Okay, all right. Well, fair enough there. By the way, Tyler backed out. I think that's what he means. Debating because Israeli hyper dirty coding in the Neuralink took you over.
Hyper druid coding in the Neuralink.
There you go. Did it take you over, Tyler?
No, the chip's in my ass.
There you go, man. I've been drinking, by the way, and I'm a horrible reader. So just FYI, I'm actually retarded, and Tyler actually is confirming that a retard won this debate. So FYI, all right. FYI, guys. I think we should send Tyler to Israel. Tyler, I think you belong there, man. I think you belong there.
I've been to the Middle East a couple times. I'll go to Israel. Yeah, send me there, guys.
Yeah.
You know,
I think Tyler would be happier over there in Israel. We should send him over there because
there and fly back.
Yeah, and Tyler, you are a MIGA, right? You are a MIGA?
Whoa, hey.
MIGA, M-I-G-A, all right?
From the waist down, you know? Well, no. I line up with Trump's policies much more than you anti-Israel juicebergs.
Oh, okay, all right. Anti-Israel juicebergs. I got it there. Ben? Yeah, a real MIGA. He's a real MIGA. He doesn't want to admit it, but he's the realest MIGA in town. That is true. All right, Tyler, for the ending here, if you have time, just break down my closing statement. I think it's a lot quicker than yours, and then we can let you go on this, okay?
All right. Go ahead, start that. While you go, Jake, you got 5 minutes. I'm usually take a little leak break before we get to the audience questions, but
Okay, go for it. So Tyler's whole spurg out right here in his closing statement was essentially just his opening statement all over again. That's all Tyler was doing. No closing at all on that. But let me give you my perspective on how the debate went, guys. The debate went where Tyler is 100% committed to the genocide of Israel because it's a war, bro. It's a war. They're feeding them, etc. Which, by the way, I addressed multiple claims that he even addressed it right now in his closing statement that Israel basically their whole claims isn't backed up by any administration. Nothing. No third party investigation. Nothing. It's just believe me, bro. Shit. That's all it is. Israel just says believe me, bro. You know, Hamas is taking food and they're just selling it off to other Gazans. No claims, not at all. None of it's proven. He also stated in his closing statement that, no, man, it's going to take a couple years before, this is going to be proven, etc. And it's kind of like, wait a second, bro. We were being told that Hamas was using them as human shields. It's just human shields in hospitals, etc. And it's kind of like, well, hold on a second. Would you use the fucking human shield argument if somebody went into a school and took children hostage in a school and the police decided to, they're using those kids as human shields. Let's bomb the whole fucking school. Nobody here in this fucking room would say that these robbers were using those kids as human shields. That's ridiculous. Especially, again, like
what's your thought there, Tyler? You're shaking your head. You're like, what the fuck, this asshole?
Yeah, that's just like it's you're doing it in the closing, so it can't be addressed. You're making a very unfair comparison.
I think it's a fair comparison, in my opinion. But go ahead, Tyler.
Oh my god, I'm just like, yeah.
And you couldn't address it. Yeah, I know. I should have. Yeah, I gotcha.
I saved a couple of really strong points in my closing as well that you couldn't really. It's hard to address them in the closing because you're making a general statement.
Right.
I threw a couple really good dunks in there, like factoids that I saved for the end. So.
Yeah, I got you there.
Mentioned before as a metaphor, it's Andre the fucking Giant versus a baby. It's not even fucking close when it comes to that. Literally over 500,000 soldiers that are in that army compared to 20,000 Hamas members. Not even fucking close. So he fails on that. He also failed to actually give me an argument about the food supply, where Israel is actually destroying crops. They're destroying wheat mills. They're destroying all these areas to the point where they've wiped out 95% of the cattle and the sheep in Gaza, which is going to take decades to recover from. Okay. And he says, no, they're not intending to starve these people. It's war, bro. No, it's not fucking war. This is just Andre the Giant stepping on babies. That's all it is. And again, even if you look at the numbers that he accepted 72,000 deaths in 2 years, Hamas, on October 7th, 1,000 people. And according to Tyler, they've killed another 2,000, maybe 3,000 or so. Is this really a war, or is this them fucking getting just absolutely obliterated by a genocide? And by the way, again, people agree with me on this. Scholars from the genocide conference has agreed with this. Scholars had said what Israel's doing right now is a genocide. Tyler is totally okay with that, and is totally okay with our tax money and the U.S. tax money that we have funding a genocide right now at the moment. Cut off all these funds or partially weed it off, I would say. But at the end of the day, take it all out. Gibbs, get the fuck off your phone and go ahead. I'm done.
Listen, I got the timer here. You still got a minute left.
Huh? I'm hitting my button. I pressed it once on accident.
Yeah, if you press it once, it's muted.
Okay.
You want it out. You want it out.
Yeah, you want it out.
Okay. I was. Listen.
Okay, I think that was the ending there. Tyler, what do you think about mine?
Again, it's the same thing. You're doing the same thing as I did there. You're restating the arguments in your own definitions, in your own narrative. You're framing it the way it's fine. Like it's passable. I think it started out a little bit like the calling it my whole thing a spurg.
Yeah.
Was good. It was a good tactic, but the follow-up sentence was something also vague. If you would have skipped like the next couple of sentences and went right into the examples after that, like it's a spurg and here's why, and then boom, 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 boom. I think that would have hit a little bit harder.
Yeah, that's true.
Like you got the right point, and then just if you restructured it slightly, and then took your second sentences and put them down at the bottom, I think it would have hit a little bit different because you made that vague claim and you backed it up with solid facts right after. But otherwise, you hit everything you needed to, you rephrased everything you needed to, and you completely like just attack. Like I don't even know if you attacked it, but the vague thing that you were saying was I have Israel has no backup. There's been no investigations, no studies. Where I had actually like brought up in specific investigations and studies, one done by the U.S. in 2024 in my closing. So like you were directly saying like discrediting that.
Yeah.
Or I couldn't say. So you're saying America's lying.
I could have just made the claim that maybe Israel fucking funded it or something like that, right? There are lobbyists, but again, I wasn't addressing that. I just already had the mentality that Tyler's bringing up stuff that Israel has claimed, and that Israel's is the full front of that investigation. And same thing with like COVID-19. When COVID-19 was around, the World Health Organization allowed China to investigate themselves on where the origin of the virus came from. And of course, they were saying it didn't come from us. In fact, it could have came from the United States. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not good to allow nations to investigate themselves because they're going to be biased. That was kind of like the direction that I was going with on the Israel resources, right?
Yeah, and then you also, like, throughout the course of the debate, you brought up the UN study, and I discredited how 98% off. I brought up how UNRWA was employing Hamas, and they were actually involved in the kidnapping and holding hostages, members, and things like that. I brought all these up, and you never hit on any of them. You just kind of passed them all by, saying whatever. And then
you didn't pinpoint me, bro. You didn't pressure me.
I'm not saying it's a good tactic. I'm not saying I'm not at fault or anything. I'm definitely at fault for not hammering that point home. But because I didn't emphasize that enough, it allowed you to go into your closing and then again cite the same UN study that I had refuted earlier in the debate. But when I refuted it, I never said it was the same study. I never said this is the UN study that you're using, the one that's 98% off.
Right.
I never hammered that point home. So when you used it again, nobody remembered that I'd already refuted that showed how wrong that's. It's completely my fault that I didn't do these things during the debate. I just focused on fact checking. And I didn't make any overall narratives, any overall conclusions. I didn't stick to my game plan. My game plan was to say, I'm aligned with America. I'm aligned with Trump. And this guy is repeating leftists. That was the plan. And you can see little sprinkles of it here and there, but I up substantially on that end.
I got you there, Tyler. By the way, shout out to Grid One fucking Motorsports, who's in the chat, which we're about to end the stream right now, Grid. But shout out to Grid for making this happen because, man, Grid, I know you weren't here in the beginning of the stream, but I was telling Tyler, man, you set me up with Tyler. I thought I was going to debate tomfoolery. I did a lot of fucking prep, actually like 1 day's worth of prep for Tyler and what I wanted to go about it. And shout out to Grid One for doing that, man. It definitely helps me get better as a debater. So shout out to fucking Grid One there for that. W Grid, man. W Grid for this, the GridCon. That's what it was. We were out there at GridCon, and GridCon was fucking awesome, dude. It was fucking awesome. So shout out to Grid One for setting that shit up. You guys had one of the better debates. I appreciate that, Grid. I appreciate that, man.
I know. It was the best fucking debate, first of all.
Yeah, it was better than Rob Noor versus tomfoolery. I agree with you.
Yeah, that was a one-sided stomp. Like, that was entertaining and all, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't much of a debate.
It wasn't. Yeah. I saw the whole thing there. I was just like, holy shit. Can anybody actually like, does Tom actually have any type of leeway? But shout out to Tom Foolery because he was the only one that stepped up. You know, he was the only one that stepped up to take on Rob Knorr. So shout out to Tom, man. I think he thought that he was gonna debate me, but he went up against Rob, which is a Titan. I'm not a Titan. So shout out to Tom for going through with it, man. They were all awesome, but I think you guys did amazing. Not getting my channel nuked. That is true too. Yeah, like I said, did not say the J word. I tried to refrain from that. So that was one thing that I kept in mind when during the debate. And I even told Grid, I was like, hey man, if you want us to have this debate on your channel, cool. But just know, I don't know where the direction's gonna go. So I did go into the direction of purely just kind of the foreign affairs stuff. I wasn't trying to bring up, the J people influencing America and stuff like that. So I'm glad I went that direction there. So shout out to Grid One, man.
All I have to say is free Jason. He got banned in chat during the stream. Free Jason.
Yeah. I saw that too. No, he hold on really quick. No, he knew he was going to debate Rob, just not about what. Okay. So interesting that Grid brings that up. I knew about that. I had mentioned to Grid that I wanted to do the left wing versus right wing violence with Tom Foolery. And then they told me like they were going to debate, or Grid was telling me they were going to debate. They just didn't know about what. They ended up on the topic of left wing versus right wing violence, which I'm sure Tom was prepping for me for that. So it's logical for Tom to be like, hey, let's do the right wing, left wing violence stuff. What Tom probably didn't know is that Rob had already debated this stuff before. And Tom debated it, but Tom was on a panel debating this stuff. And the main speaker for Tom, like Tom was on a team, it was Counterpoints, Connor. So Connor was kind of the lead voice in that exchange, and Tom was kind of like the Robin to Connor's Batman. So I remember seeing that, and I'm like, okay, this guy's a Robin. I could totally destroy this guy. He's just kind of like piggybacking off of Connor. So that's what I was preparing for before.
I got a jet. Take her easy. Thanks for
Go for it, bro. Go for it, man. We're gonna end the stream in a little bit. But thanks, Tyler. Okay, he's already gone. Thanks, Tyler, for coming by, man. Shout out to Tyler for coming by to kind of shoot the shit and review our debate together, man. Free Sparky, Wicked Wally. Shout out to you, man. Where is Sparky? Grid One. Seething in the corner. Yes, seething in the corner. Dude, shout out to fucking Tyler, because Tyler was very brutally honest with himself. And even with me, like when I was breaking down my tactics, some people might look at what I was saying and be like that I'm a bad faith debater. And I'm not a bad faith debater. I'm really not. But some people can see that and be like, oh well, Jake, you bypassed his point and went back to yours. That's not bad faith, But I think a lot of people might actually look at it that way, but that's not the case at all, man. They have both been debating this, but I don't think Tom has done it one-on-one in a while. Yeah, well, because like anything that I saw with Tom Foolery, it was like in a panel. It was never a 1v1. So I felt pretty confident that that Tom Foolery had to rely on other people in order to make his points, or at least to articulate his points. But yeah, his debate with Rob clearly won. But shout out to Tom for even doing it, man. Tyler told me that Charlie, that lesbian dyke chick, was supposed to come to GridCon and she bailed out. So it probably would have been even better to have some of these more lefties come by, but Tom pulled through, and so we got to give a shout out to Tom Foolery for that, man. So shout out to Tom Foolery on that. And we'll leave it there, guys. We'll leave it there. We'll end the stream there. I hope everybody's having a good what's today? Thursday? No, Wednesday. I'm sorry, Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thursday. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving. By the way, everybody in the chat, happy Thanksgiving to y'all. I hope everybody spends time with their family. have some turkey. Be grateful about the family that you have, and God bless everybody, man. God bless everyone. Everybody that's watching the chat. Everybody that I met in Nashville. Holy shit, these people are some of the nicest fuckers I've ever met in my life, man. Ever met in my life. Jake, I go live. Wait, hold on. I go live live in a couple hours. Oh, really? Wait, you're talking about Charlie? That fucking crazy bitch? If that's what you're talking about, if you're gonna go live right now, I'll drop by the chat for sure. I know Grid goes. Grid, you're going live around 8:00 because I saw your schedule earlier. So I'm definitely gonna fucking. Check that out. Shout out to Wicked Wally, to Tom Grims. Good. Tony Grims. Good to see you in the chat as well. Penn, good to see you as well, dude. And fucking bro. By the way, we're gonna be doing more streams together, me and you, bro. So we got to go live together as well. No, I go live here in a few minutes. Okay, hold on. Well, I got a few people watching, Grid. Like, you get a way bigger audience than me. So I'll be there in the chat, man. I'll be there in the chat. Swing by and I'll feed you. Okay. All right, Grid. We'll see what's up, man. But I'll be in the chat. I'll be in the chat live. So I'll see you there, man. All right, guys. With that being said, we're gonna fucking shoot it out for you guys. I hope everybody's having a blessed day and happy Thanksgiving to all of you guys. God bless. Thank you so much for showing up.